afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, the 18th of February at 3:02 in the afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting of the Tallahassee City Commission to order. It is my honor and privilege to invite our friend, Pastor Derek Steele of Faith Christian Ministries, to provide the invocation. Pastor, thank you for joining us. If you will join us at the podium, ladies and gentlemen, please stand and body your spirit.
Good evening. Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor, and greetings to all of our commissioners and all of our officials, statesmen, citizens, and everyone here, giving all honor to God, our Creator. I came to do the invocation, to invoke the presence of God. That's what I do as a pastor, a leader. It is to deal with God and deal with his people. And as we come today, what's on our heart is Psalm 133, where it says, how good and pleasant it is for the brethren to dwell together in unity. Amen. And so in that light, we want to pray. Father God, we come to you, the most awesome, magnificent, glorious entity of all, Lord, the eternal God. You are our Father, the creator of all that is. Oh God, you've created us and you've knitted us together and given us common bonds that we all have to breathe. We all have to eat. We all have to drink and stay hydrated. We're united in those things. Oh God, but you put something else here, and it's the love of God. Hallelujah. And Lord, we pray now that the love of God would compel us, that the love of God would constrain us, and that your love would permeate this room, touch each heart, oh Father God, and that your purpose would prevail, and that your unity will ultimately be established. And so, Lord, we pray, Lord, that your will be done in this meeting, in the decisions we make, oh Lord, Father God, that you would be made manifest and your presence apparent in the things that we do. In Jesus Christ's name, we speak blessing over each and every person under the sound of our voice. And in Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tallahassee City Commission meeting. Pastor Steele, I want to thank you for providing the invocation. It is great to see you, and it was wonderful to celebrate at the rededication of the C.K. Steele statue down at C.K. Steele Plaza with the family, and it's just always great to see it. Good to see you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Williams-Cox.
It's also great to see his lovely other half.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Sister Tilly, thank you for being a support of him in the work in our community. Thank you.
Excellent. Wonderful. Okay, do we have any agenda modifications? Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. We've got a couple items that have been pulled from your consent agenda, item 803, which is approval of revisions to Concurrency Management System Policy and Procedures Manual, as well as item 807, which is approval to submit a grant funding application to the National Safety Council for Road to Zero Traffic Safety Grant Funds. Both of those items have been pulled, and they've been placed in Section 9, numbered items 901 and 902. Additionally, Section 13, which is unagended speakers, preceding the public hearing portion of your agenda, has been noted to 30 minutes. You'll recall in or around 2018-19, you changed from a 30-minute time limit at the top of the agenda for topics scheduled for discussion. This follows that model along with models established by other cities around the state of Florida for unagended speakers.
Excellent. We need to ratify that in policy, and I would like to make a motion to the effect of 30 minutes for unagended speakers. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. Open it up for discussion. Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I just want to make clear, I think that 30 minutes is absolutely not enough time. We meet less than once a month over the course of the year at meetings such as this. 30 minutes is 10 people, and people of all kinds come to us to speak, whether it's a nonprofit organization to let us know about an event that's coming up, neighborhood that has a specific neighborhood issue that needs to be addressed. We've all done this before. We know who comes to speak to us. I just think 30 minutes is inappropriate. You have people who, it's also unpredictable sometimes when we take public comment on unagended items. So people can't plan their days around coming to us here. This will make it even harder. So I'm not sure I understand the justification for this, and I think it would have been more appropriate for this to be raised before it was put on the agenda as it was, for us to take a vote. I know that we had this discussion in 2023, I believe, and we all agreed that, or at least the majority agreed at that time, that this was not the direction we wanted to go in. So that is still my view, and I won't be supporting any motion that limits to 30 minutes the public's ability to address their elected officials.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't support the motion on the floor. I think part of our job is a duty to hear from the public. I know the last few meetings have been heated, and we've had a lot of public speakers due to issues of broad community concern. We saw that with ICE in our community working with TPD. We saw it with the sale of the golf course that include the burial sites of former slaves. We see it with the TMH decision. There's a lot of things people want to speak about that are not necessarily on the agenda. And it seems like this is limiting the public's ability to participate. Last year, we cut the amount of meetings we had in half. At the same time, this city asked for a pay increase for city commissioners. And now we're saying we're going to hear from the public, not twice a month, but once a month, and we're only going to allow 30 minutes. So I object on, I'll stay here as long as we need to make sure every public speaker has the opportunity to be heard. I believe that's my job as a city commissioner, and I'm willing to do it. If we need to pause the meeting and go into the next day, we should do that as well, but we should not be discouraging the public from interacting with their elected officials, because Lord knows we need to hear from them. I have a few questions on process. You know, routinely we have multiple hours of public speakers, Mr. Clerk, so to limit it to 10 speakers or 30 minutes, is it going to be first come, first serve, or are we picking and choosing who has an opportunity to speak?
Mr. Clark, do you have any ideas?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. and Commissioner, typically we have speakers on a number of different items. I think the objective would be to have the City Commission hear from as many people on the various issues of the community as possible, so that you would be aware of what's out there, and if there may be limitation on the number of speakers on every given topic, but hopefully you can hear from someone on everything of interest.
Excellent. Commissioner Matlow.
So in a scenario where we have more than 10 topics, how do we decide which topics won't be heard that day?
Haven't faced that situation.
In a scenario where public speakers, right, they want to speak on, say, a Southwood item, how would we determine if they want to speak in favor or opposed?
Meaning, if the person has identified a topic but does not have an opportunity to speak, how would we know? Is that right?
Many times when people speak on a topic, there's people in opposition and there's people in support. And generally on a public speaker forum, they may identify what they want to speak on and not necessarily let us know the details of it. So just by determining what they read on a form, how are we going to determine who's in support or opposition and who has an opportunity to speak?
Understand the question. We do not have a way to know whether they're in favor of or opposed at this point. Typically, people will identify their topic, but not necessarily, and sometimes they'll provide enough description that it's obvious, but that's not always the case. We don't have a box to check.
Okay, thank you. And so many times our meetings do go late just based on commission discussion, particularly if we have public hearings and we have heated debates amongst the board, that it can push the opportunity for public speaking even upwards to 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So now we're asking members of the public to come spend their entire evening with us because they don't know when their opportunity to speak will be. And now we're not even going to guarantee them an opportunity to speak. So, it's a game of, I'm going to come enjoy a 6-hour city commission meeting, and maybe I'll have an opportunity to speak. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's democratic. I don't support the motion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Absolutely.
Mr. Mayor, on point.
On point, sure. Commissioner Porter.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, I want to make sure I understand you correctly. So are you saying that, let's say there's 10 identified topics that people want to speak on, or let's say there's 5, it doesn't really matter, but how are you going to select who is the representative of that topic?
Actually, let me weigh in here. If you look at policy 108.06, the second paragraph, it specifically states that the chair of a meeting may require at a meeting in which a large number of individuals wish to be heard that a representative or a group or faction on an item speak on behalf of the group or faction rather than each individual speaking, and may designate the length of time for the representative to speak. Now, that's on agended items. I would assume that we could carry that over to unagended. And in that situation, as the chair, I would ask the commission if it's the will for us to designate or allow the group to designate an individual to represent the views of the entire group. But that is word for word our current policy that we should be following.
Sure, but that's not what, respectfully, our clerk said when he answered Commissioner Matlow. He didn't refer to the policy or you. He said, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but what I heard you say was that the question was, is it first come, first serve? Do we pick a representative? And I believe you didn't very directly answer the question. You said we sort of would address it, or you would pick someone. So we didn't. So the answer is that anytime you're going to tally up every speaker card, you're going to divide them by topic, as far as you can understand that from whatever they have filled out on the speaker card, and then relay that to the mayor, who will designate, and this is all in real time, you're going to designate a representative to speak on that topic?
I didn't address the representative portion. I didn't think that was part of the question that had been previously asked. But if we were to have a large number, it's typical even in our last meeting and meetings before that for the mayor or any member of the commission to inquire as to speakers. And so I think we'd have an opportunity to identify if there are large groups on a given topic and then go from there. I did not have a pre-prepared answer on a representative, but that has been done here in these chambers before and could easily be accomplished, I think.
Sure.
And if I may,
Sure.
the benefit of unagended items and speakers to speak on unagended items, it's not just for the benefit of the public, it's also for the benefit of us. People might be speaking on one neighborhood issue, but have more to say than a single representative might have to say.
Sure.
These issues affect each neighbor perhaps individually and in a unique way that may demand a different response from the commissioners. So I think it's important for us to keep that in mind. I learned so much from the public speakers who come. I only live in one neighborhood. I only live one life. I can't know what's going on in every part of our community unless people are telling us. And this is one forum. I know it's only one forum,
Right.
but it's an important forum when people do that.
Well, I also want to mention that to the fact that, look, yes, we're heading in a new direction, and I want all 5 of us to work together. The opportunity is to run a more efficient meeting and to maintain a level of decorum, which has been missing. And quite frankly, I'm looking at my 4 colleagues, and I'm asking you to get my back. Let me read specifically from our policy that says public speakers must adhere to a standard of public decorum and must speak only to that which relates to the common good of the city, city policy, or city business. This is on unagended items. Must speak to the common good of the city, city policy, city business, and refrain from personal attacks. Speakers may be interrupted by the chair if said standard is not met. A civility oath is displayed outside where the clerk collects the speaker cards, and I need your backing to make sure that we do maintain decorum in these chambers. Now, it is not uncommon for local governments on unagended speakers to set a time frame. In fact, doing a quick search, I can tell you Walton County, Polk County, the city of Davie, Florida, Orlando, Florida, Clearwater, Florida, Hollywood, Florida, Palm Coast, Florida, Pinellas County, Pompano Beach, the city of Pompano Beach, have all put in 30-minute time limits, but also give the commission the opportunity that if we so desire, want to extend that 30-minute time limit because we have good public discussion going on, we can do so by a motion. But what I am proposing is that we set some parameters and we try to bring unagended speakers back to a position where it is a positive influence on this community and a positive public participation. Let me also remind you that we are not required at all to have unagended speakers, but trying to maintain the tradition that we've had here in the city of Tallahassee of allowing for unagended speakers. Hence the reason why I am proposing that today, let's try it out and see what happens, that we have a 30-minute time limit, and that's the motion that's on the table. Commissioner Diane Williams-Cox, and then Commissioner Matlow, then Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too want to hear what everyone has to say, because I agree with you, Commissioner Porter. I learn a lot, and sometimes there are things that need to become an agenda item. But what we've got to do is we've got to restore civility and decorum in these chambers. What happens here has not been happening at the courthouse. It doesn't happen at the legislature. It doesn't happen at the school board. So at some point, we have got to rein things in. I have gone to the legislature to provide testimony. I've been given 30 seconds sometimes. I've been given a minute sometimes. And when you go over that or you get out of order, they have controls in place to make sure you either understand that you're going to get back in order or you're going to be put out. So I just think that that helps us do what we need to do so we can hear what everyone has to say. I don't mind, Commissioner Matlow. I don't have a problem being here until 9, 10, 11 o'clock. We've done that in other boards. That's not the issue. The issue is I need to hear from the people who are bringing something to, as the policy states, bringing something to us that is for the good of our community and something that we can do something about. If it's something that is handled at the legislature, that's where it needs to go. If it's county related, it needs to go to the county. If it's school board related, it needs to go to the school board. But if it's city related and we want resolution, if that's what we want, then we need to bring something that we can work with to get resolution. But if we're just grandstanding or you want to be on television or whatever it is, when people look at our meetings, I'm embarrassed when they walk up to me and ask me, what are y'all doing? Our children are watching this and wondering what is going on in city government. Last meeting, we had elementary school children here. Fortunately, they left before we got to the unagenda speakers. So yes, I want to hear all of it. And I will offer that if for whatever reason you don't get your chance to present it to the commission, I'm open. I'm happy to hear it. Sure. And I will bring it to see if it's something that we can get on the agenda so that we can get resolution. My goal here is to get something done, get it resolved, and get it done. Right. So I'm hoping that we will be able to restore civility and decorum in chambers.
I agree. Let's have Commissioner Matlow, Commissioner Porter. Then I'm going to call for the vote so that we can keep, and the Mayor Pro Tem, and then we'll call for the vote so we can keep moving on with the meeting. Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Government should not be in the business of deciding which speech it would like to hear that day. And that's what we're essentially stating here today, is we're going to pick and based on, Madam Commissioner, based on the clerk's explanation, it's not first come, first serve. It's decided based on a pre-selection. He has to literally pick who will get to speak and who will not. That's exactly what it is. And I think we need to separate this, Mr. Mayor, from a conversation about decorum, because the number of people who want to address this commission isn't in and of itself uncivil or a lack of decorum. There have been issues over the years with lack of decorum. Yeah. And this board it's a difficult position to be in, Mr. Mayor, and I understand that. And you've made decisions to call for recesses and adjourn meetings. At no point have we tried to overrule that decision or cast a motion to overrule the chair to bring the meeting back to order. We understand the balancing act you're trying to maintain. And I know it's difficult. I'm here too. It's difficult for all of us, but I do think this is a bridge too far looking for a solution, because in a meeting like tonight, I know people will want to speak on ICE. People are going to want to speak on this issue because it's a new issue. People are going to want to speak on the Southwood development order issue. That's three that I know of, and normally we have people who have individual complaints that they have dealt with, and I don't know who's going to be excluded. I'm not comfortable excluding those people at this meeting tonight. I don't think this is a smart way of going about it. I think if you did want to limit, I think you should at least look at making it first come, first served, so then there's actually a process and people know if they're going to be able to speak rather than have to stay the entire meeting to determine. But I'm opposed to the 30-minute limit. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, and Jim, I think we should do first come, first served tonight for an agenda. I agree.
I'll take the
And that's
direction of
what
the
we can
commission.
do. Commissioner Porter, and then the Mayor Pro Tem, and then a vote.
Thank you. I was going to make a similar point that Commissioner Matlow just made. I agree that civility and decorum are important, and we have struggled. We have seen that play out here. At the same time, I honestly worry that this will make that worse. I think people feeling restricted and limited is unlikely to help that problem. And so I am concerned that this, if that is in fact the goal, that it will backfire. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. They don't call me the dean of the commission for no reason. I've been here for 10 years or more, and this has only recently become the kind of issue that it is. Because there are organized groups that come to this chamber.
Right.
And they make a mockery of our procedure. And as the mayor has mentioned, we're one of the few municipalities in the state of Florida that allow individuals to come and address us when it's an issue that's not on the agenda. We're one of the few, y'all, in the state of Florida that allows that. We've always had civility in these chambers since I've been here until very recently. Again, when these organized groups come and decorum is just out the window, as we saw in our last meeting. The one thing, and I'll share this with you all, one of my fraternity brothers one day came up to me and he said, "Curtis, you are ubiquitous." I said, "What is ubiquitous?" I'd never heard of it. It means you're everywhere all the time. And so when I'm in Piggly Wiggly grocery shopping, or when in the CVS pharmacy, or at a function in the community, I give people the opportunity to come to me. And what I tell them is that I make myself available to you in the community where you live, so you don't have to come to City Hall and sit through hours of a meeting. You will see me in the community where you live, and that's the community where I live, and my neighbors come to me with issues that concern them. They don't have to come to City Hall. They don't even have to make a phone call. All they have to do is walk right next door, and there I am. And I think that's how government should work. It should be about community service, not necessarily being a politician where people have to come to you to get the issues that are important to them addressed. And so I think that it is important that we bring back civility and decorum. I've had the opportunity to work now in 3 different elected offices with people from all over the state when I was in the legislature. And we've been able to work together and adhere to a situation of decorum in those settings. And I know we can do it here. We've done it before. And so that's why I am going to support the motion that's on the table, and as we go forward, if under certain circumstances it's not working, we'll have the opportunity to address it. But I think for right now is the direction that we need to go. And again, I want to emphasize, if there is an issue on the agenda that 100 people want to speak to, those 100 people are going to be heard.
Right.
I don't have a problem staying here for as long as it takes to hear individuals who want to speak on items that are on our agenda. And so I want to emphasize that they will be heard if it's an item on our agenda. If it's an item that's not on the agenda, we can request that the city manager bring it back as an agenda item at our next meeting. So it's not like we're refusing to give people the opportunity to address this commission in more ways than one, having to come here and sit through a meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sure. And on point, bring it in before calling for the vote. Let me remind everybody that this is not the only time that you can meet with us or request something to be on the agenda. Southwood has been brought up a couple of times. Yes. I had a wonderful meeting with the Homeowners Association representing the neighborhood, and I think several of you have too, and I strongly encourage everybody to all reach out. And again, this is not talking about agenda items. Everyone will be heard on agenda items. You have a right to be heard on the agenda items. We are only specifically addressing unagended items at the end of the meeting. All those in favor of the motion on the table signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Passes 3-2 with Commissioner Porter, Commissioner Matlow in dissent. I want you to know personally to all four of my colleagues, I appreciate your commitment to helping me maintain decorum in chambers as well. And it was wonderful to hear that from each one of you. Thank you. Okay, so that's all with the agenda modifications. We have one presentation. If all four colleagues would like to join me down at the podium. And as my colleagues are coming, I would like to invite Mr. Curtis Taylor and all friends and family of the Tallahassee chapter of the Urban League to come join us. In fact, Reverend Steele, why don't you and your family come join us as well? And anyone who feels so moved to celebrate Black History Month, please come join us.
That's a pharmacist right there.
There we go. There we go. Excellent.
Legal drug dealer.
All right. I tell you what, so everybody on TV doesn't stare at the back of your heads. Everybody turn around and come join around us. Ladies and gentlemen, from the governing body of the City of Tallahassee, a proclamation. Whereas the contributions of African Americans have helped shape and mold the rich history of our nation, and whereas African American History Week, celebrated in February, was created in 1926 in the United States by historian Carter G. Woodson, and whereas Black History Month was first recognized by President Gerald Ford in 1976, and whereas this year celebrates 100 years of celebrating Black History Month, and whereas such knowledge can strengthen the inside of a community regarding issues of civil rights, the great strides that have been made in the crusade to eliminate the barrier of inequality for African Americans and the struggle against racial discrimination. And whereas since 1969, the Tallahassee Urban League, an affiliate of the National Urban League, has been steadfast in advocating for equity, justice, and economic empowerment, working tirelessly to improve the quality of life for African Americans throughout Tallahassee. And whereas the Tallahassee Urban League's commitment to education, workforce development, housing, health equity, civic engagement, and gun violence prevention has united and strengthened our community to work together. Now, therefore, I, John Evans Daly, by the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Tallahassee, do hereby recognize February as Black History Month and recognize the Tallahassee Urban League for its leadership and invaluable contributions to our community. Read into the record in front of each and every one of you here this evening, signed with my signature, John E. Daly, dated February 18th, 2026. My dear friend Curtis Taylor, it is my honor and privilege to present you with this proclamation. Curtis, if you will give us just a second, I'm going to ask all four of my colleagues if they would like to say a word or two in regards to Black History Month.
Absolutely. But thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to our colleagues that are here and representatives of the Urban League. I had the pleasure of serving on the board of the Urban League myself and know the great work that they do here in this community. But, you know, we lost an icon in the civil rights movement here recently in the Reverend Jesse Jackson. And one of the things that Reverend Jackson worked so hard for was to make sure that every American citizen had the rights and freedoms that any other enjoyed. And we are working towards that. And that we understand, he wanted us to understand that African-American history, Black history is American history. This country wouldn't be what she is without the contributions of African-Americans throughout the years. And so I think it's very important then that we as a city recognize the importance of African-American History Month and what it means not only to our city, but our state, and indeed our nation. And so, Kurt, thank you for the work that you all do, and we look forward to continue partnering with you to make Tallahassee be the all-America city that she has been 3 times designated now for all of her citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you. Diane?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will make this very brief. Pastor Steele, you said a word today in your invocation, unity. And unity is what we want. That is what we strive for. Black history being celebrated for 100 years in the month of February is awesome. But I'm Black history every day, 365 days of the year. And you are history for whatever your culture is every day. And once we understand that we are one, we should be unified and walking together. Scripture speaks to how great it is to walk together in unity. But how can we walk together in unity if we do not agree? So I hope that you will agree with me that Black history is American history, so that we all can walk together. Because when I get to heaven, I'm not going to be looking for the Black section. I'm going to be looking for that section of tenors singing holy, holy, holy. God bless you.
All right.
Well, thank you for being here. I agree with what my colleagues have said. Black history is American history, it's our history, and it's a pleasure to be surrounded by our local Black history in many of you who are here today and those who are watching. And I want you to know that, that your contributions have made a difference and have made history, and I'm looking forward to the next 100 years of celebrating Black History Month. Yeah, because I'm young.
Hey, everybody. I would like to point out in Washington, D.C. and in the State House, they might not want us to talk about Black history anymore, but in the city of Tallahassee, we will proudly recognize where we've been, because it's ever important to know where we've been if we know where we're going. I know we got a lot of work still ahead of us. I do want to thank Mr. Taylor and the Curtis League for the great work that y'all do. I see a lot of familiar faces here today, and to be in the honor of greatness, Pastor Steele, and the tremendous legacy your family has cast here as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Curtis, I'm going to ask you on behalf of the Urban League to please say a couple of words. Before we do that, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege.
Okay.
We have the Honorable Maggie Lewis Butler that's here with us today. And I am so proud to say that my father had the opportunity to serve with you and with Commissioner Richardson on the Leon County School Board. And we miss him, but he loved you and we love you, and it's great to see you. On behalf of the Urban League, Mr. Curtis Taylor.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Commissioners. We want to thank you all for this great honor. Over 50 years, the Urban League has been in the trenches making a difference, empowering our communities, providing resources. 49 years ago, the City of Tallahassee partnered with the Urban League with our housing rehab program. Since that time, we have rehabbed over 1,000 houses. Let's give them a big round of applause. Over 1,000 houses. Mayor, I've been in houses where you can look up and see the sky. Look down and see the dogs and the cats.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cox, I've been in some of our senior houses that on fixed income, they cannot afford to repair their roof. And when you walk in their house, there's buckets throughout the house catching rainwater. A lot of people just don't know how some of our people are living. And so this is really a ministry where we're able to make such a difference with so many of our citizens. And so now, the City of Tallahassee, if we have a house that's beyond repair, guess what? We can take it down and build a new house.
Amen.
We just had what we called a trifecta last year, and the mayor and Commissioner Cox and Commissioner Richardson was there. We had 3 new houses that we completed just about the same time. One was on Dent, one was on Harlem, and then one was in Woodgate. The house in Woodgate had caught a fire 2 years ago, and the gentleman that was living there was living in a little mobile home with no hot water for over 2 years. But we were able to build him a brand new house. What a blessing.
Yeah.
What an opportunity. And so we cannot thank the City of Tallahassee enough. Moving forward, the city has partnered with us with our gun violence prevention campaign. You know, we started putting on police forums almost a decade ago. This is where we bring citizens, our young people, our law enforcement together, trying to come up with ways to help the police department, the sheriff department to combat this senseless gun violence and crime in our community. And Deputy Chief Holmes would always be there, and he'll say, so many guns were stolen out of unlocked cars last month. Every forum. And so Commissioner Richardson, we heard him, but we really did not hear him. But when he said there was a gun that was stolen out of a car, unlocked car in Tallahassee, and it was used in Miami to shoot somebody and kill them, that's when the light came on, so we got to have this campaign to remind our citizens, please, please do not leave your guns in unlocked cars. Because you have individuals coming through in the middle of the night, 2, 3, or 4 o'clock in the morning, and if your car is unlocked within 10 seconds, they have your gun. We just had a Martin Luther King Day of Service at Strong and Jones parking lot, funeral home. Everybody said, why y'all having it? Well, we had it there because we wanted to say to our young kids that drugs, gun violence, and crime equal you being here too soon. But we had a young lady there speaking, saying that her husband was shot and killed by her stepson, and he used a gun from an unlocked car. So we just cannot thank y'all enough. As I've said over and over, from Mayor Ford, our first African-American mayor, to Mayor Daley, from our city manager back then, Dan Clayman, y'all probably forgot about him, to City Commissioner Reese Gold now, from Daryl, city manager from Daryl Gorham, that was over the housing development program, to Dr. Kimball Thomas today. We cannot thank y'all enough for what y'all have done. So on behalf of our citizens of Tallahassee, we thank you, and we encourage everyone, go out and patronize Black businesses and all businesses, and also make sure that everybody in your circle is registered to vote, make sure they verify they vote, and most importantly, make sure they go out and vote.
Let's get a picture.
Keep hope alive, keep hope alive, keep hope alive, keep hope alive.
All right.
We thank our board for being here, our staff, and our newly appointed young professionals, our future leaders. Thank you, thank you.
If we can get everybody to just squeeze over Come on up, everybody. Here we go, y'all. Perfect. Want us facing you or facing the game? Want to face me? Back, here we go, right here. Just get right there. You're perfect. Excellent. Thank you all so much. All right, while we are taking our seats, Mr. Manager, do we have any announcements formally to come before the City Commission today?
No, sir.
All right, we are on item 7.01, the annual report for the Tallahassee-Leon County Commission on the Status of Women and Girls. It is my honor and privilege to introduce someone who I enjoy working with each and every day, Ms. Courtney Thomas, who is the Director of External Affairs for the Mayor's Office, will be introducing this item as a part of my team. Courtney, thanks for everything you do.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Item 7.01 is the 2024-2025 Annual Report by the Commission on the Status of Women and Girls. I'm going to ask Stephanie Shoemate, the Director of the Commission on the Status of Women and Girls, to come up, as well as the Chair, Dr. Jasmine Bryant, to present the report.
Excellent. And Courtney, again, thank you for representing the City of Tallahassee and the Mayor's Office and everything that you do in external affairs. Ladies, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for all the great work that you do.
Thank you. You stole my first thank you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Attorney, and Clerk for having us here today. And yes, that was my first thank you. Thank you to Courtney. She's our liaison with your wonderful staff and commission, and so we appreciate all she does. And we're excited to be here. So I want to just take a moment to recognize our other amazing commissioners that are here. We have our wonderful chair, Dr. Bryant, and then we have our Economic Security Chair, Amanda Leedy, one of our newest commissioners, Dr. Linda Grooms. We have one of our awesome interns, Kylie, Gabby Siebert, our Special Projects Coordinator, our awesome Political Equity Chair, Tiffany Martin, and then another commissioner, Keosha Forston, and then our Education Chair, Dr. Shelley McKendrick. So thank you all so much for being here, and it's a privilege and an honor to work with all of them.
And Stephanie, if I might, I want to say that I am deliciously proud.
Deliciously proud.
To be the commission's representative.
Yes, yes.
On the board of the Status of Women and Girls.
Commissioner Porter,
Yeah.
you have previously served as well.
Yes.
We have had great representation.
Yeah. And then we also have Kelly Audie here, the Executive Director of the Oasis Center for Women and Girls, which is our contract agent, and we're very thankful for that partnership and continued support from Oasis. So we appreciate you being here today. So we know that Courtney supplied the annual report, and as y'all probably saw, we had a very busy 24-25 year, and so we just want to lead through some of the highlights, but we really today want to talk a lot about our well-being dashboard, because the first iteration is complete. And so we're going to go through some of those things and highlight all of the wonderful work that these wonderful women have done. So I'm going to turn it over to our great chair, Chair Bryant.
Great.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for granting us an opportunity to formally present our report. We are excited about the work we've done and more excited about where we are going moving forward. So our 2024-2025 CSWG leadership, in her absence, our chair at that time was Commissioner Dr. Adela Gadimi. I served as vice chair during the 24-25 term. We also had our subcommittee chairs, Commissioner Kay Meyer, Commissioner Jillian Gregory, Commissioner Amanda Leedy, Commissioner Carolyn Pryor, Commissioner Tiffany Martin, and Commissioner Dr. Michelle Gale. And so I want to recognize our leadership for 24-2025 and all the work that they did. all of the contributions that they're still making. So moving forward into some of our milestones, as our director mentioned, we had quite a busy but impactful 2024-2025. And so we'll start off with some of the efforts related to our local candidate forums. That effort entailed us partnering with several local women and girls serving organizations to hold forums where we were specifically learning information from candidates as it relates to issues that are impacting women and girls in Tallahassee, Leon County area. Across those various forums, we had over 150 in-person attendees, along with nearly 4,000 online views and participation. We also conducted a questionnaire for Leon County School Board candidates, and we had to reschedule that due to a hurricane. We all know weather does its own thing. However, we did have that scheduled last year. We also partnered with Seminole Sitters, which is something that we're extremely proud about for those candidate forums to provide child care. As we know, presence is sometimes impacted when individuals have other responsibilities, particularly women with child care. So we were really excited about being able to provide that service for free to all attendees. And that is a continued priority for the commission so that others can engage in civic events uninhibited. I'll now pass it over to Director Shoemate.
In January, we held the inaugural Period Poverty community-wide drive and collection. So we partnered with about 9 to 10 organizations across FAMU campus, FSU campus, but also other nonprofits, Oasis and FSU Period, to bring awareness to period poverty in our community. And then about 30 local businesses and nonprofits and organizations actually were collection sites for period products in our community. And then we had a Stuff the Truck in a great partnership with Second Harvest of the Big Bend at the end of January. And we actually collected over 3 pallets full of period products that have since been distributed because period poverty is a real concern and a real issue in our community. It's been reported nationally about 1 in 4 women or girls miss school or work due to not having period products. So that's a huge issue, and we're trying to raise awareness, bring solutions to it. So it was a great thing that we had. We're really looking forward to doing another one in May because May is when actually Period Poverty Awareness Week occurs this coming year. So it was a wonderful opportunity to partner with so many great women and girls serving organizations again. And then in June and July, we worked with a locally women-owned and minority-owned awesome business. If you don't know of Grova, get to know them. They are great. To redesign our website, because as we were working on this dashboard over the last year and a half, 2 years, when you have outdated PHP, which if you're a web designer or anyone in tech world, you know what I'm saying. I learned a lot, that we wouldn't have been able to house the dashboard. So we worked with Grova to update our website. It's very user-friendly. The goal really is to be able to get more citizen input with that, and we have some slides later to show you. There's lots of forms. If anyone wants to join as a community committee member, there's easy access. So that was wonderful. And so Jazz is gonna lead into a little bit of our dashboard.
Yes, so we will get into more details. However, we will say the dashboard, the well-being dashboard, was a labor of love, about a 1.5 year long process. It was the last deliverable for our former CSWG 2.0 plan, and so we're excited that that is completed. We also worked with another awesome women-owned business, Noli. They are social scientists, and they worked with us in detail to design and develop the well-being dashboard. And so that was a really great opportunity for us, and we're looking forward to the dashboard continuing to assist as we make policy recommendations.
And then right here in these beautiful chambers, we had the inaugural statewide meeting of commissions and women organizations at the end of September. So I do want to give another big shout out to Courtney for helping us arrange those logistics, but also your facilities team. They went above and beyond and were kind and fun and just amazing to work with. So huge shout out to the facilities team here at City Hall. We really appreciated their hard work that day of and leading up to it. But we had over 50 women from all across the state of Florida come up for this inaugural meeting. And it I mean, phenomenal, to say the least. And we had 2 days. We had 1 day here, and it culminated on a final day where we attended the Florida Commission on the Status of Women's inaugural Women's Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And we were able to host that in partnership with the Florida Commission on the Status of Women and Miami-Dade County Commission on Women. So we're really excited about the continued collaboration and efforts across the state to be able to learn best practices and share ideas. You know, we don't want to recreate the wheel every time, and some of these amazing commissions and women's organizations are doing great work, have policy recommendations that, you know, we don't have to start from scratch. So it's been an awesome opportunity to create those connections across the state, and we only look to continue that work in the future.
Absolutely, the statewide convening was certainly time well spent. Jumping forward into a few highlights. So we are excited. We had 61 community committee members, and if anyone is wondering what that is, those are individuals who tirelessly give their time as volunteers. They are not appointed. They attend our committee meetings. They may drop into full commission meetings. And so for that, we are extremely thankful. They keep us abreast of what's going on in their respective areas of practice, and it ensures that our policy recommendations are sound and able to be implemented if adapted or adopted. We also had nearly 3,000 hours of volunteer work reported, and that's across our community committee members as well as our appointed commissioners. And we know that number is underreported because oftentimes people do things and they forget, and they do not report that out. But as of now, that is what we have for our 2025 commission year. We also provided 29 potential actions and recommendations as a part of our findings. We had 13 community-wide events, and then we also partnered with over 150 community-based organizations to do the work of women and girls in our community.
Here's just the highlight of some photos, but last year we continue to focus with the mayor's office and Kids Incorporated of the Big Bend on a 24-hour child care facility, and really hoping to bring that to fruition as we pound the pavement to make it happen. We know that that's something that can't be done overnight, and so that continued partnership we're really proud of. So this is some photos from our period poverty drive, our partnership with Refuge House for their walk to end violence, one of our community committee members events where we would love to have our community committee members and women and girls serving organizations come and have the opportunity of designated time to talk about women and girls issues in their respective organizations. Because a lot of the times it's generalized, and we really like providing that. There's a candidate forum. That's our statewide convening up in that top right corner. And then we also use the First Capitol for one of our OBC meetings. So if you haven't ever used the facilities, great people too to continue that work. And these are just some screenshots of our new updated website, as we were kind of just alluding to, that once we were finalizing that dashboard, recognizing we have to have a place that this lands and people can use it. And so the new website and that houses our digital resource library. We have where you can look where to serve. You can fill out a form if you're interested in partnering as a community committee member. And also a calendar that shows all events for women and girls in our organization and across the community if you ever want to attend them. So we're excited about our new beautiful website. But we're going to kind of lead into this next portion is really talking about our data dashboard. And so I'm going to let Chair Bryant kind of walk us through that. And as she's already stated, it's been a labor of love, and we know that this is the first iteration, and we're only going to continue to improve as we get continuous years of data and build upon this. And it was an honor to work with Noli Data Science Firm as well.
Awesome, thank you. So a little bit about the well-being dashboard and the process that led up to it. So across all of our subcommittees, we met to identify specific indicators and metrics as well as credible sources to gather this data. In addition, we worked very closely with our community committee members to identify specific data points that they thought were also important and needed to be highlighted locally. Beyond that, we also convened several experts outside of commission work who were able to provide insight on additional metrics, data sources, as well as indicators to consider. Some of the points or data points or metrics that were initially identified, we were unable to placed on our well-being dashboard. Either the data were significantly outdated or there were no data sources. And so if you see a metric or an indicator that's not here, it is likely because we did not have local data or comparative data to provide, which was a qualification for the dashboard. Okay, so the first screenshot you see here is for our economic security and employment and earnings data, and we have some functionality highlights that we would like to showcase in the next slide, but essentially these were, oh, okay, no, you're okay. So essentially, when individuals visit this dashboard, they can hover over these data points, find out what those metrics are, where they were gathered, what is the importance or relevance of that data. And so we were excited to add that as a feature just to provide additional context because we know data interpretation is really critical when providing information to the public. Okay, so our education as well as our violence and safety committee, so we've enlarged it so you all can see some of those additional data points that were provided for education. There was one primary metric identified by our education committee in conjunction with the community committee members, and that was related to absenteeism. And then additionally, high school graduation rates was the other metric that was identified as of now. Looking at violence and safety, there's one primary metric listed here, which is domestic violence cases in comparison, for Leon County in comparison to the state of Florida. We do know that domestic violence is historically underreported. However, this is the data source that we do have. We do have another data point that we'll be adding to the dashboard, which is some data from STAC, Survive and Thrive Advocacy Center, regarding STAC Pro training. So what businesses, entities, or individuals have been trained on identifying human trafficking across the landscape in Tallahassee, Leon County. Health and Development Committee. So for Health and Development Committee, there are 3 metrics shown here. I will make a note that HDC, or Health and Development Committee for short, has additional health metrics that will be presented. However, these data were pulled from our Florida Department of Health, looking at infant mortality rates, maternal mortality rates, as well as our STI, STD rates at the local level. These data were identified based on recommendations from also our community committee members, those who serve across various agencies that do work to assist moms and infants, as well as individuals who work in our at local community-based organizations. Political equity, there are 2 primary points here. So political equity metrics highlighted elected positions and the number of women in those positions or that are involved in civic engagement for advisory councils. And so those were 2 primary data points gathered for political equity, and there are more that are also to come. We also have an overall well-being index score that kind of consolidates across all of these different data points. However, that is still in the works, and we'd be happy to further address that once it's finished. All right, so it is not our goal to only present challenges. It is also our responsibility to identify viable solutions. Across our commission, one initiative that we've worked on just about as long as we've worked on this dashboard is how do we also engage local businesses to address community health and well-being. We know everything cannot simply be done by policy, and so it is our hope to engage local businesses who have some social responsibility or some corporate social responsibility efforts. So in that, we have one last roundtable that we will have on Wednesday, February 25th. So if there are any local entrepreneurs, business owners, nonprofit organizations who would like to join us to learn more about how your business can be engaged in advancing the well-being of women and girls, but just our community at large, we welcome and invite you to that conversation.
And kind of going back to the dashboard, I'm going to bounce back. One of the other things that we're really kind of recognizing, and Noli helped guide us in a lot of it, is if a data source is not easily accessible, then really trying to depend on that from year to year, because that's the goal, is to be able to use this dashboard from year to year. And if that data source is not free or is outdated, they really said, you know, let's look at other opportunities or other metrics or other indicators. So they've been a great help in kind of paring that down. And, you know, I think one of the things that we're excited about in this, you know, future year and future iterations is to continue to bring data, because we know the data's out there, The goal of the dashboard is to put it all in one place so it can tell a true story of what's happening with women and girls in our community. And then how can we be part of that solution? And how can we continue to work with businesses, nonprofits, local entities that only make the life better for everyone in our community. So we thank you so much for having us. Again, this is our contact information. If there's any questions, and we also have our full commission meeting tomorrow. So we've moved our full commission meetings this year to Thursday evenings, either the third or the fourth Thursdays in the month, to be more accessible to, you know, potentially other women that want to come and share what they're doing. And we were having them at lunchtime, and here we are saying, oh, we want to be accessible, and it's like lunchtime on a Friday, and it's like we really had to check ourselves. So we're excited about that new change with the commission, and we also have been rotating across the community in different city community centers, different county community centers, local nonprofits. So if anyone ever wants to come, they're 5:30s. They're all publicly noticed, so we'd love to have you there, and also public. We'd love to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. There is no formal action except for to accept the report.
Move that we accept the report.
Properly moved by the Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox. Comments? Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, thank you for your hard work. I know y'all work year-round to get this together, so I appreciate it. I do want to take a second to the general public. I believe I have an appointment that is now open to the Commission on the Status of Women and Girls. There's an application portal on talgov.com, or the fine treasurer clerk can assist you. Please apply. I think it's a great opportunity to get involved, learn more, and make great recommendations to the city. I wanted to ask, in the attachment, there were 3 approved recommendations by the board. And is, Mr. Mayor, to have those bring back, is that something staff is working on bringing back, or will that require a motion?
It would require a motion.
Okay. Can y'all highlight the 3 recommendations you made?
I can start us off.
Start, and I'll chime in when you need.
Yes, sure. So as Director Shoemate mentioned, we have had an opportunity to learn from other commissions across our state and the work that they're doing. And one of those recommendations we learned about was diaper changing accommodations and having those available. So certain other ordinance or cities look at having these types of accommodations made. And so we looked at other language, and we voted as a commission to adapt and move that forward before you all as one of our recommendations. Additionally, fair chance hiring and economic empowerment for formerly incarcerated women, and the proposed language for that. We were moving that forward in effort to remove to ban the box so that individuals can at least get an interview, right, and not be immediately screened out because of a previous record or history. And then also expectant mothers parking ordinance. That was also something that we identified in another municipality, where buildings, to get certain permits, also had to have parking for expectant mothers. So those were 3 of those recommendations that we voted 24-25 to move forward before you all for consideration.
Excellent.
Yeah, and Commissioner Matlow, in the city, we applaud y'all. Y'all have the ordinance for the ban the box. You have language that already, and so these both we submit as a joint city-county, and so we are working with the county on that. So we appreciate that. We actually used, you know, your draft language to submit to them, so we appreciate that. And then just to context for the other ordinances, there's been a lot of good research around it with the other entities, and so we'd be happy to talk to anyone further about that, either offline in a separate meeting. But yeah, those were the ones that passed this past year.
Okay.
We have a couple more coming, but that's
Okay.
this year.
Sure. Thank you. And yeah, I think Commissioner Richardson, y'all led the charge on that way back 2014, 2015 on ban the box. Great. So I would like to, I don't know if staff has had an opportunity to review the other recommendations, but I don't want to make a substitute motion, but if there's a willingness to amend the motion to just bring these back in the next, say, 3 months, give staff time to review and make recommendations on the recommendations by the CSWG?
Yeah, why don't we accept a friendly amendment for staff to review and bring back updates? Of course. Let me make sure I'm clear, because we do have the changing facilities in our restrooms. You are interested in the city mandating to the private business community that they have to include it in their restrooms?
And that's the thing with the Miami, we actually borrowed this language from Miami-Dade, is that there are grandfathered in clauses if it's new construction or potentially other, and that it's outlined in that, those details. But, so it wouldn't be everyone, and I actually had a conversation with Commissioner Matlow about this with one of our commissioners of, you know, a lot of the times we have girls that are about a month apart. We experience this a lot of, sometimes you go into a restaurant and it's a family-friendly restaurant and there's literally nowhere to change your child and you're changing them on the table, or there's only a restroom, or the changing tables in only the women's restroom, which we know men change diapers too. And how are we making sure we're being equitable? And so having the conversation with Mr. Matlow was like, do y'all, business owner, do your places have changing tables? He's like, actually, I think they all do, except for the bar, which it's like, okay, that's one of those things. I don't know how many babies are going into a bar. You know, to be determined. But so I think that's one of those things with the outlined language from Miami-Dade. There's a lot of clauses.
Yeah, let me suggest, while staff is working on this, I need you to check in with the chambers. You have a bunch of business owners right back here on a separate issue as well. We need to gather as much information as we can from the business community before the city comes in and starts mandating with everyone.
And that's one of the things, sorry, Mayor Daley, with the businesses for Roundtable, we really are hoping to get that feedback.
Good. But I think that you will have some incredible feedback from the chambers and the opportunities they present as well.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, there is an amended motion to accept the report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Passes unanimously 5-0. Thank you.
Thank y'all
We're
so
on the
much.
consent agenda. Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, items 8.03 and 8.07 have been pulled.
Excellent. 8.03 is now 9.01. 8.07 is now 9.02. Mr. Clerk, do we have any other comments on consent agenda that need to be pulled?
No, sir.
Okay, so the rest of consent,
Move consent, Mr. Chairman.
properly moved by the Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Passes unanimously 5-0. We are now on item 9.01, formerly 8.03. Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, this item seeks approval of revisions to Concurrency Management System Policies, Procedures Manual. John Reddick, our Growth Management Director, is here to answer any questions that you might have on this item.
Excellent. Commissioner Porter, you pulled this item. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was hoping actually that you could talk us through some of the changes.
Mr. Reddick, can you talk us through some of the changes, please?
Sure,
as
happy to do
presented?
so. Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. This is a staff-led initiative from a lot of just conversations with applicants, business owners. It has to do with just changing the timing of when we require these payments to be made. So concurrency, if you have a traffic or stormwater concurrency payment that's required as part of your project scope. Currently, we require it very early in the process before you actually have a permit to do any sort of physical work. And this just allows applicants to defer that. It helps them have more flexibility in how they're funding their project, because that can be a large fee depending on the type of project and can really impact the ability to make the financing work before you have the assurances you would want in hand to be able to do the scope of your project. So all this does, it doesn't change the amount of fees we take in. It doesn't change our methodology of how we assess projects. It is purely a timing issue. The other changes you see there in this is when we looked at to modify the concurrency manual to allow us to do this. This manual was adopted in 1990 originally, and there are a lot of changes that have never been made since that time. So what we did was just modernize it to reflect a lot of language, comprehensive plan references, our current policies and procedures that have evolved over the decades, just make it reflect those. So the only substantive change is just changing when we collect that fee.
Excellent. Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have just one question, and I support the changes. I do have one note, which is the item, the attachment does not highlight any of the changes. So I did request, and I believe it was sent to the commission, that an attachment with the strike-through and add-ins be included, but it is not in the agenda materials. And I think people might want to see that, so if we can update that.
Duly noted.
One question, a change about, so there's a lot of strike-throughs and a lot that's been removed. Is that just because the authoritative document is the comp plan and that's where we're directing people? So it's duplicative, I assume?
That's correct, Commissioner. So for
Okay.
example, a lot of the level of service standards that are in there were, again, reflective of standards we had in the 90s still, whereas now we just refer back to the comprehensive plan, which outlines all those standards.
Okay, thank you. The interpreting authority that is the city manager, how were questions resolved before this? Was it just informally the city manager?
That's correct.
Yeah.
This is just updates to reflect how we have it in
Yeah.
other chapters of the code.
Okay, thank you. And I'll just say, I'm supportive of these changes. I intend to support the item. I pulled it to ask questions mostly because I hear both, as I'm sure you do too, good stories and bad stories about going through the permitting process. And I know that some of those are one-offs, and other times there may be ways that we can improve our processes altogether. And this is a step in that direction to streamline this. And I know the changes are not, substantial, but I think they will make a difference and be helpful and clarify the expectation for people. But I did want to take this opportunity to perhaps initiate a further discussion about what other practices we may be considering or other cities may be implementing that may assist property owners, entrepreneurs who are going through this process, because it can be complicated. I know that we are tracking when we are providing feedback and comment to people, but because it is something that since I have served on the commission, I have heard a lot about, I think it's worth us having a more robust discussion at a higher level view, perhaps at a future meeting. So I don't know if there's any interest in us doing that. I know it's something that Commissioner Matlow brought up at our retreat, I believe, and I thought this was a good opportunity to bring that back up. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Do we have any public comment on this item, Mr. Clerk?
No, sir.
Commissioner Porter, is that a motion for approval?
Yes.
Seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox, Commissioner Matlow, and then, Commissioner Williams-Cox and Commissioner Matlow.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. And I also support this. As we see more and more people in our community trying to help us with our affordable housing and those kinds of things, these are the kinds of things that will help them do this. The non-traditional developers, the nonprofits that are trying to help us with this, having that kind of money being expected later in the process as opposed to upfront will help them to be able to manage with small budgets and not a lot of access to capital. So I wholeheartedly support this. And I know that I've had some conversations with the city manager and you, Mr. Reddick, about some of the permitting issues that I'm getting and hearing. And what I'm doing is compiling a list of what those issues are so that we can get together and look at what can be done and what's best practice. And so we're hoping that we started kind of last year, but we kind of got sidetracked, but we're going to get back to it. And let's see if we can't identify how this permitting process can be better. One of the things that I've talked to the deputy city manager about is training folks on what the permitting process is and how it works and what happens when and where in the timelines and those kinds of things. I think that too would be very, very helpful. And Commissioner Richardson and I was at a meeting recently where there were some permitting concerns. So we're hearing from the public and we're compiling and getting this information so that we can produce a product that can help our community. We're not trying to develop fast. That's not what we're trying to do, but we are trying to make sure we're efficient in our permitting process. So we do have a starting, I started out the gate on that already. Thank you.
Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the interpreting authority, can you give some examples of when this has come up in the past?
Sure. So it may be something like trying to find flexibility in a timing of payment. That is something that, if we have unique circumstances where we've wanted to defer that in the past, and we understand that typically that would have been. So I'll give you an example of beyond concurrency, but for example, the director has a lot of discretion in certain chapters of our land development code, and it may be that there's a letter of law and then a operational, rational decision to make to help an applicant. So something like the timing of payments, we may have done in the past on unique occasions, but this, that would have been essentially at that time a director discretion to do it. This just aligns it with, to have the city manager or designee doing that, essentially puts that in writing, the same way that we have it in Chapter 5, Chapter 9, Chapter 10, other areas of our land development regulations, so that we know we have a written ability to be flexible in different areas to apply these, all in the discretion of helping, make a process easier in unique circumstances.
Commissioner Matlow?
Okay, thank you. And have you had any contested decisions?
We have, not on something that is, if you're referring to something that is regarding an interpretive authority, no, only because that's typically only, I'll say this, in my time that as director, that's usually only used to benefit the applicant and not as where we have a very boxed in language within our policy, and we understand that we want to help someone to work outside of that if we need to, and we understand that we're still ultimately abiding by what the intent of that policy is.
Okay, and my other question was related to when the applicant's total proportionate share contribution is equal to or less than or exceeds $500,000, changing from commission approval to the city manager approval. How often do those circumstances arise?
Almost never, mainly because something of that size is going to have, typically going to have a development agreement that is coming separately to the commission. So we wouldn't have, and again, that's if they want to break out a payment schedule. But so we have had some projects that have larger fees than that, but they haven't requested to break out that payment into a schedule of some sort. But again, typically, if we're getting something that large, it's wrapped up in a development agreement like we've seen at Belani or other similar large projects.
Okay,
So slim to never is.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing one come through. That's why I was curious. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, we have a motion on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, passes unanimously 5-0. We're on the second consent item pooled, 9.02. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item seeks approval to submit a grant funding application to the National Safety Council for Road to Zero Traffic Safety Grant Funds. Rob McGarrett, General Manager of Underground Utilities, is here to answer questions on this item.
Sounds good. Commissioner Porter, you pulled the item. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I was hoping that Mr. McGarrett could just talk us through what this will look like in practice.
Mr. McGarrett.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this. Mayor and Commissioners, we currently monitor about 240 cameras around the city. They're real time. We don't record it. It's used by our traffic management center to keep up with what's going on. If you can imagine, it's difficult for our team to watch 240 cameras. This is going to help us automate that. So it's part of a larger effort to test out on Tharp Street, was the street that came out of CRTPA's safety action plan, is a high injury area, to help automate that so that we can work with CDA to respond more quickly when there are issues.
Great. Commissioner Porter?
So can you break it down even further for me? So there is artificial intelligence and machine learning that is monitoring existing cameras in these identified regions that are part of the high injury network system. And if they did, what are they looking for? Are they only looking for an actual crash or unsafe driving or speeding? What exactly are they being prompted to identify?
I think that's the expectation, is they'll identify if there's a crash or
Okay.
a traffic backup in the area. and flag it for our folks to work with CDA on if we need to have someone dispatch.
Okay, so this would be instead of someone getting in a car accident and calling the cops, instead, this like removes that step? They're just automatically notified and they may or may not respond, or?
Well, I think we would expect folks would still call if there's
Okay.
an issue, but this allows us to see it happening and start working with CDA in advance to see what needs to happen in response to it.
Okay, and I'm not unsupportive. I intend to support this item, but I am curious, so what is the kind of information that this will give us that will change the way we respond if we're still expecting people to call? And then obviously, once we're on the scene, you know, first responders will make the determination about what needs to happen then. But what more information does this give us to respond appropriately?
I think it helps flag it for us if we're not watching the camera when it happens. So we have a limited number of cameras we can watch real time in the traffic management center. This will help flag it and to us and say, hey, there's a problem here. And flag it to us faster without, if we're not watching that particular camera when it happens, we're not going to know it happened.
And I understand that, and I'm not trying to be obtuse or difficult. Is that something that we're all, and I understand that we're not monitoring all these cameras, is that something, though, that we're already doing, but we just don't have the capacity to be monitoring it constantly? Like, do we already have staff monitoring these cameras for traffic-related incidents and coordinating with CDA for response?
We have staff monitoring cameras, but there's a limited number
Right.
of cameras you can have pulled up
Sure.
at one time in the traffic management center. So we're watching, probably the best way I would describe it is we're watching the big ticket intersections or where we know there's other issues.
And are we the only, is the city the only entity that has access to the feed or to whatever data is being generated as a result of what is being monitored with this technology?
Well, the feeds on the camera are on our website. The general public has the ability to look at all of our cameras.
Right, so there's
today-
nothing in addition to that.
So I think it will just be the CDA, is that correct?
Monitored. So right now, it's not in place. This grant is to actually build the technology. So this technology is not in place now. It's to build it.
Right.
As far as looking at the feeds, I believe TPD may have some limited access or some access to those feeds, and then the TMC has that access.
And, okay, go ahead.
DOT could access it at some point, as far as Chipley, their TMC.
But to your point, what we are talking about is already accessible to the public anyway?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, are there other cities that are using, so you're saying we're developing this technology?
Yes.
Okay, ourselves. Are there other cities that are doing anything similar that we're modeling after?
Not to my knowledge at this time.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Is that a motion for approval?
Yes.
Okay, properly moved by Commissioner
second it.
Porter, seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox. Do we have any public comment on this item?
No, sir.
All right, moving for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, passes unanimously 5-0. Do we have anything else to come before us under the consent agenda?
No, sir.
Do we have any ordinances to be introduced into the record tonight, Madam Attorney?
No, we do not.
We are on policy formation and direction, item 12.01. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like Deputy City Manager Drummondville to introduce this. This is seeking approval for a grant, and it does take a lot of teamwork, and so I'd like her to introduce it and recognize the team
Dr. Drummondville, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm happy to share some great news that the city's been awarded up to $725,000 from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and it's under the Volkswagen Diesel Emissions Mitigation Program, and it requires no local match. And the funding will be used to replace 3 of our aging diesel garbage trucks. So it'll help to improve the reliability of our fleet and to reduce emissions, and then enhance our routine service and disaster response. As always, we used a team approach to preparing this grant application so we can benefit from the expertise of the departments across our organization to help us be more successful. In this case, Reginald Afwani, our General Manager of Community Beautification and Waste Management, he and his team were the lead for this, but I've also asked Alyssa Myers, our Director of Environmental Services, and Jeff Shepard, our Director of Fleet Management, to be here. Both of their teams lent a significant amount of support to make this grant successful, so I wanted to acknowledge their leadership, along with, of course, the leadership of Roberta McManus and the talented grants team. So with that, I'll turn it over to Reginald to make a brief presentation on the item, and then he can turn it to the team for any questions you might have.
Mr. Afwani.
Thank you. One of the interesting things about getting a grant from DEP is that you have to cross your I's and dot your T's in a reversal. and more often than not, we found out that there are 4 criteria that they gave. But as you're reviewing it and putting together the document, the criteria has some twists and turns. I'll give you a good example. They gave us this somewhere around December, early December, and told us the deadline is before Christmas. And more often than not, you know, people are ready to get out of this place, so we had to all pull together. Hence, we have our team that worked quite enormously to make this happen. And the criteria they gave is that it has to be a garbage truck. And it has to be 2009 and older. Most entities may not have that, and if they do, it's not running. And so we happen to have a few that are not part of the front line, so that comes us being able to utilize it. And we're very glad that fleet management was able to say, okay, we can probably put this together into use. And then they also came up with another criteria that sometimes you just have to have difficulty determining. They say, how many hours are you running this truck? And how much gasoline does he use? So we have to go back into our system, pull that, and most of these documents, you have to make sure it's accurate. In case you are audited, I mean, you have to ensure that you have good information. So I would say these things are quite, you know, interesting to say the least. But again, just like Karen said, very, very appreciative of all of the teamwork from everyone. Appreciate it, and I'm glad that we're able to have that. But the last thing I would say is, even with this very truck that we have, in order for us to use it, we have to be able to make sure that the new trucks that we are replacing, the ones that we are replacing, cannot be put in use. So they gave us a criteria of how to dispose it. So those are the type of things that you expect from state government. I thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this item?
No, sir.
All right.
Move staff recommendation, option number 1.
Congratulations and great job, team.
Absolutely.
Properly moved by the Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox. You are recognized, Commissioner Williams-Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As Deputy City Manager, I hear a lot about grants that we're able to get. So congratulations to our grant team and the teams who go out and get this money. By getting these grants, that means that that's money that is a gift. That we don't have to then go to our citizens to ask for money to do these things. About approximately how much do we get in grant funding, or have we gotten in grant funding over the past 2 or 3 years?
Yes, ma'am. That's a great question. I'd like to ask Robert Wiggin, our Director of Budget, to come up. Robert will have that number specifically, I'm sure, in his head.
In his head?
Yeah.
He was back there sharpening pencils.
These are the best questions to be able to answer. Yes, over the last 5 years, we've received just over $352 million in grants.
Excellent.
Just for perspective, that amount is more than what we bring in property taxes over that same 5 years. So it's a tremendous ability to increase our service level and our economic impact.
I hope the media picked up on that. You say 352 million.
With an
Thank-
M.
With an M. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Keep it up. Keep up the good work.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I just want to take this opportunity to commend our city manager for the leadership that he provides, because none of this could happen without a city manager who identifies talent and brings them on board and provides the leadership that they need in order to be successful. And so, Mr. City Manager, I want to commend you for the work that you do and this tremendous staff that we have in the city of Tallahassee. And this is just one indication, but the service that's provided is another. And so we just want to thank you all for the good work that you do.
Thank you. It's been motion made by the Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, passes unanimously 5-0. We're on item number 12.02. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to ask David Pollard, our airport director, to come forward to present this item. You'll recall, as the Blueprint Board in May of last year, you approved funding designed to encourage new air service at our airport. This puts that in place. It puts some structure to it. David will give us an overview of how that will work.
Excellent. Mr. Pollard, welcome.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, appointed officials. Appreciate the opportunity. What this item is coming before you, but before I get to that, I always like to take us back to our strategic priorities. And this item specifically ties to those top three. If I draw your attention to those top three strategic priorities that this commission approved as a part of the city's strategic plan, this item will allow us to move forward and increase the economic impact at the airport, will allow us to increase total passengers at the airport, and will allow us to increase the total cargo at the airport. Additional air service, you may know, in the belly of these aircraft is also carrying cargo along with that. So basically, this item requests your approval to implement the Air Service Incentive and Capacity Improvements Program. On May 8th, you may recall, we went before Blueprint, and between Blueprint, then the OEV established the Air Service Incentive and Capacity Improvements Program with $10 million in funding, which is called community-sponsored funding. And what we're trying to do is marry up community-sponsored funding with airport-sponsored funding. That together creates a better package that we're able to have these conversations with our carriers and move the conversations forward. So we certainly are talking to several different carriers as a part of our air service development process. This combined over $10 million of funding, our consultant has, and this was in the Blueprint item that you approved as a part of that, will result in a $1.1 billion economic impact and create approximately 1,158 jobs, according to our air service consultant. Basically, this talks about minimum revenue guarantees. As a part of that item back at Blueprint, we talked about it being a financial risk mitigation tool used by most communities. It's a common tool. Airlines will come and go in communities. It's a part of the industry. There's a lot of movement in the airline industry right now. I think you see that, and I think you hear that through the various articles you read. We've got things going on with Spirit right now down in Fort Lauderdale. They're selling aircraft. You got Allegiant that's looking to maybe fill some of those gaps. You got some of these other carriers that are making movement. You got the battle with the United and American at the United Chicago hub, right? And so they're constantly repositioning, taking a fresh look at markets, and we need to be prepared here in Tallahassee to offer the latest and greatest community-sponsored incentives and airport-sponsored incentives. So, but with that, it's simply a risk mitigation tool that we use and separate those two, which we're required to do under FAA policy, community-sponsored incentives and airport-sponsored. Happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. Real quick, do we have any public comment on this item?
No, sir.
Okay, let's turn to questions, Mayor Pro Tem, and then
Thank you.
Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. David, I know that this will be a tremendous incentive, and you all will be able to use it to attract air service. And, we hear this all the time. I was talking to a guy recently, and, he was complaining about the fact that he had come to Tallahassee, but he couldn't leave the day that he wanted to leave because the air service wasn't available. And so I understand the urgency of what we need to do here, but we've done it in the past. I know when I was in the legislature, we appropriated dollars to specifically our regional airport at the time was regional. And yet, here we are again wanting to offer those same incentives. What guarantees will there be that, and I understand what you said about how the industry is being challenged right now in that respect, but I want to make sure that we're investing these public dollars in a wise and judicious way so that we will have, 5, 10 years from now, the kind of air service that our citizens have come to expect from our airport.
So I think to answer your question, Commissioner, the 15-year allocation period within the blueprint and OEV process, it separates that amount out over the 15 years. It basically comes up to about $670,000 a year. And so we're not going to get it all at once. And that's got to go through their process to be allocated each budget cycle and all. So there's certainly built-in checks and balances along the way, both through blueprint and through the city process and structure of the program. You'll see it in the numbers. You'll see it in our numbers as we continue to track forward and meet with these carriers, listen to the public that's out there telling us they want more service, they want more destinations, they want cheaper fares. And so as we continue to listen and respond to what we're hearing from the public, I hear them, right?
Yeah.
And I take full ownership out there from the standpoint of what we're doing and what we can control out there. But there is competition. So, I'd stop short of guarantees, but I would simply assure you that this will move the needle in this community with air service.
All right, Commissioner Porter?
Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I just want to clarify, it's my understanding this money has already been approved for this purpose. It's just coming to us to formally administer the funds.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Commissioner, yes, each of you have already voted
Right.
in the affirmative as a part of that blueprint item. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I have a few questions. One is, have the criteria for the minimum revenue guarantees program been established? Like, let's say 300, I mean, I know 300 carriers don't even exist, but, how are we going to make decisions? Who is going to make the decisions about what kinds of guarantees or incentives we offer and at what level and, in what time frame? Can you talk us through what that will look like?
Sure. So, again, I want to be clear with respect to the separation we have to have with the airport-based incentives and community-based incentives. This item before you today would be the community-sponsored
Right.
incentives, and that would certainly go to the city as a part of me being a technical advisor to the city, making my recommendations and conversations we're having with all these different carriers. Ultimately, we will bring a recommendation to the city in terms of specific amounts.
Okay, so those will come back to us then, the city commission.
This item, you approve this item. So
Right, but I mean, any incentive package that is offered, it comes back to the city commission?
No.
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 Okay. Let him answer.
So it's already been approved at Blueprint, and this item is simply.
No, I understand that. I'm asking, when an airline applies for an incentive, who makes that decision?
So it'll originally be a part of my discussions that I will then elevate to city leadership, and then it'll be reviewed at that point.
Okay. Okay, thank you. The item also talks about, so it says, for the expenditure of community-sponsored air service incentive funds for air service development and related capacity improvements. Can you go into a little bit? And it says including minimum revenue guarantees. So what else might this include then, other than minimum revenue guarantees?
So many of you have heard the issues we've had at the TSA checkpoint, for example, machines breaking down. I'm after reliability. I'm on the receiving end of those frustrations that the passenger feels, right? I don't like it either. And what I've expressed to the TSA is we're going to do something about it locally. And so whether it's the inline baggage screening machines that are down below, we only have one machine. If that machine breaks down, passengers are arriving at their destinations without their bags. I want to be in a position to be able to do something about that. Security checkpoint. As our numbers go up, those lines will get longer. If that single machine, one machine breaks down, just over the last couple of days, we had a machine break down, right? Luckily, we were able to keep things moving, but those machines break down. So in aviation as a whole, it's all about redundancy, and that's what I'm trying to get to with respect to that. So that's an example, a couple of examples of capacity-related improvements. As the numbers go up, we need to be positioned to move. You know, I sometimes talk about us being one low-cost carrier away from bursting at the seams. I oftentimes talk about safety, security, and capacity. And capacity is what we've got to keep our eye on to stay out ahead of what we've seen at other airports throughout Florida.
What have we, is there flexibility then moving forward, like the example that you gave, for other kinds of uses of these funds?
Can you repeat?
Are there,
I'm not sure
so is that to say that there is flexibility moving forward for the use of some of these funds, like the example that you gave just now?
So I think the best use of the funds is going to be with the revenue guarantees, and then if they're not used, then we can then in turn use those funds for capacity-related improvements. But here in the public and listening to the business community and others throughout our community, our region, the demand and the desire is for additional air service, additional destinations, and lower costs.
Sure, and I agree with those people. I love to travel. I understand completely. I'm just trying to make sure that I understand that there is that flexibility for you and for the city.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for bringing this back. You've already answered the questions at Blueprint, but just reiterating for the record, this isn't new city spending. It was approved at Blueprint. We had a conversation then about we're also not allocating the entire $10 million up front, so we can be a little more nimble to see if what we're doing is working. Is that correct?
Exactly. And then we will negotiate very strongly. Each and every use of this will be negotiated very strongly.
As you know, the number one complaint we get is the cost of flights. That's a little more tricky to directly impact. The second is direct destinations. Do you have any idea, or how close are we at seeing maybe new destinations?
If you approve this item, we're going to be much closer.
Where are we flying to, David? No, I won't put you on the spot. Great. I think that is something people are eager to see and would be excited about. The third thing, slightly unrelated, but while I have you here, the elevator at the airport. Any update?
Yes, and my apologies. The elevator at the airport, yes, we've been working on the elevator. It's been a pain in my neck as well. It was a catastrophic failure a while back. We hired a consultant. As you know, the code requirements changes for elevators. And so we had to bring up a set of plans and specifications that allow us to bring catastrophic failure. We tried to repair it a few times, and Schindler finally just told us it's done. And so it was unanticipated catastrophic failure. We tried repairs over a period of time. They finally came back and said, no, it's unable to be repaired. We then hired a consultant to bring it up, develop the plans and specifications. Quite honestly, we put it out for bids. I didn't like the bids we got. It was too high. I knew it was too high. And so I pulled back and went a different direction. And from that standpoint, we got the elevator for about half the cost of what the bid was. Elevators on order. Elevators, we received word that it will be all parts, and elevator will be on site in April. And then we'll move into the installation of the new elevator. So it's a work in progress, but taking a little time.
Great, thank you. No, I just wanted to give you the opportunity. I know it's been a work in progress. I know there's frustration on it, but you are working on it. We do appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
And if I could add, if there's, I recognize the need for the elevator, and we're not turning a blind eye. If somebody requires special assistance, we have posted on the elevator a number they can call, right? And also offer curbside valet assistance. If they need to pull up and have those special needs, we're going to allow them to use the curbside valet and just charge them the lowest published rate at the airport, which is long-term parking rate.
Commissioner Williams-Cox.
That's what I wanted to give him a chance to respond to that, because I was out at the airport last week, I believe it was, and got a tour of the great things to come. Looking forward to it.
Yes, thank you.
Have we made the motion yet?
You can make a motion.
Okay, I move that we accept the staff recommendation for this item.
Probably moved by
Second it.
Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor Pro Tem, you're recognized.
Yeah, just to tag on to what Commissioner Williams-Cox has said, if you haven't had an opportunity to go out and visit with David and his staff and see what's happening at our international airport, you will be highly impressed, as I was, I'm sure, and Mr. Williams-Cox. Lots of progress being made. And David, I guess I would ask, just so the public will hear, when do we expect that all of the construction and everything will be completed so that we can then say that we are truly an international airport?
Yes, yes. So first off, we are an international airport. The public doesn't sometimes see what's always happening behind the scenes, but we certainly are an international airport already. Okay. We do handle international flights, diversions, medical assists, things of that nature, the general aviation, the business aviation. So with that said, as far as the international processing facility itself, we're continuing to sort through the technical design standards that are set forth by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Of course, we're somewhat at the mercy of our contractor and their subcontractors as we continue to press ahead. Each step of the way, we have to have CBP inspect our progress. And with government shutdowns and things of that nature, it gets to be a little bit of a longer road than we originally anticipated. And here we are again, right? So from that standpoint, with respect to the impacts that has on the time schedule of the project, it does extend it. But the facility's there, as you saw during your visit, Commissioner. We're putting the polish and the final touches on it. We're going to invite the city leadership team to come out later next month, tour the facility, and show it off a little bit. We're at the point of getting ready to take down some of those temporary walls in the terminal as well. But the short answer is by the end of second quarter, we'll be substantially complete. By the end of third quarter 2026, we will anticipate going operational based upon U.S. Customs accepting the facility.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Pollard, I want to thank you under your leadership, and I'm familiar, keenly aware, serving as chair of your advisory council as well. Under your leadership, we have moved forward with the international facility, which we're all looking forward to opening up. I love your creative thinking when it comes to tackling problems, specifically with the TSA equipment, as you and I have continued to work with our federal delegation to work with TSA to make sure that we are fully prepared. You have also taken on the initiative to make sure that we are prepared here locally in the event that we need to. I appreciate that. Those that fly appreciate that. You and I have continuously worked with the state of Florida to try to bring back the state contract that Commissioner Matlow would have an immediate and positive impact on the cost of flying out of Tallahassee, and we will continue to do so. Also recognizing how the industry has changed over the years and that revenue guarantees are no longer an asterisk, but a part of doing business. You have brought forth very thoughtful policy, both to the Blueprint Intergovernmental Agency and to the City of Tallahassee, to keep this city airport competitive. I want to thank you. During times of emergencies, whether it's hurricanes, tornadoes, whatever it may be, we have extended our partnerships with the federal government, with the military, to make sure that we serve as a base of operations throughout the state of Florida, and you have proven to do so impeccably. You hosted the international conference here, bringing all the different airlines and put us on the international map. Under your leadership, our airport has been previously recognized as the best public airport in the state of Florida, and you personally have been recognized as one of the best executive directors of a public airport in the nation. I support this item. Thank you. All those in favor of the motion on the table signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Passes unanimously 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're on item number 12.03, and for those in the public that have waited patiently to speak on this, thank you. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, sir. I think it's safe to say we have a lot of work going on in the Market District. And we wanted to provide an update on this item. In particular, we want to give an update on the entire effort, but there is road construction that's underway and that's programmed to go for some time. And we've worked directly with numerous stakeholders in the Market District to improve the timing and impacts, mitigate the impacts to the extent we can. I'd like to ask Molly Levesque, she's the manager of our public infrastructure capital projects. She's one of the many folks involved in this, to provide a brief presentation. And I believe we have a number of folks from the public that wish to speak as well.
Thank you. Molly?
Thank you so much. Mayor, Commissioners, good afternoon. I am really excited to come to you and give you an update on this transformational project that is under construction in the Market District. Believe it or not, this is over 15 years worth of work. It started right here in 2011 with the adoption of the Market District Action Plan. Over these past 15 years, we really have walked hand in hand with the community, figuring out what the desire is of these two areas, with stakeholders, residents, businesses, to really make sure that the city delivers a project that fits the needs of the Market District. I see that we have some folks here from the Merchants Association. I really want to extend our gratitude for the input. We really can't continue a project without stakeholder input through the construction. We really do value the collaboration and hope that we can walk hand in hand and bring this project to completion. Just to orient everybody with the location of this project, it is in the Market District, really situated between the heavy commercial area of Market Street and that of Village Square Boulevard. So as you're driving along McClay Boulevard, you have kind of two empty lots on either side of you in between these two heavy business areas. That's where our project is located. Really, this project is 3 distinct projects all combined into one. We were fortunate enough to meet our designed end time all at the same time, bid all 3 projects out together, and get one contractor. What this did was really shorten the overall construction timeline of these projects. We also had some value added with leveraging, so we leveraged some funding, as well as gave the contractor a little bit more flexibility in order to construct this project as least disruptive as possible. As I said, there's 3 distinct projects: the park project, the pond project, and the roadway. The park project is a Blueprint project. Shout out to our friends at Blueprint, who are wonderful to work with, as always. This park will really give you a whole bunch of amenities. You're going to have paths for walking and running. You're going to have a pavilion, playground with water play elements, restrooms, pickleball courts, and a big open area that will facilitate future events. Across the street, across McClay Boulevard, the pond, what was a just the stormwater facility with a fence around it is now going to be transformed into a public amenity that has walking paths, a pedestrian bridge over the pond, exercise equipment, and beautiful landscaping in the pond as well as the park. The third part of the project is the roadway elements. It really ties these two projects together. And what we're doing for the roadway is completely reconstructing McClay Boulevard and McClay Commerce Drive. For the underground elements that you're not going to see, we have new water lines, new sewer services, new sewer mains, new stormwater pipes, and new stormwater inlets. Also completely reconstructing the road from the ground up. What you're going to see on the top is going to have new asphalt surfaces, curbs and gutters, sidewalks on both sides of the road, decorative pavers, landscaping, decorative lighting, on-street parking, and it's going to also feature 2 roundabouts. These roundabouts are going to be essential for providing traffic flow, providing safety, and access to both the park and the businesses within the corridor. This project began construction in 2026, January 2026. In the fall of, not 2026, 2025, excuse me. So in the fall of 2025, that is when the roadway construction really began in earnest. During the roadway construction, that is when we have roadway closures and we have associated detours. As someone who does roadway construction, we understand the disruption that it caused, the hardness it has for traveling public, the detours, and we really do try early on in the construction design to mitigate these impacts. Really make sure, especially those whose driveways front the roads that we're reconstructing, that they have access. Please note that we do really try to make sure that we have access for everybody during this disruptive time period. When we started having these closures, we did receive some feedback from the businesses in the project area. We have had multiple meetings with the businesses, and we have some takeaways from those meetings. We do understand that most of the businesses are very supportive of the overall project, but that the impacts to the businesses were really greater than what was anticipated. They also shared with us that their customer base is on the north side of town. They noted that the neighborhoods of Bobbinbrook, Rose Hill, and McClay School surrounding area really had a difficult time getting from their neighborhoods to Market Street to shop and dine. It was also told to us that their highest priority was to get McClay Boulevard back open to through traffic. So we heard their concerns, we met with our contractor, and we went to work to try to find how we can expedite this as fast as possible. And currently what we have done, we went ahead and implemented this. It is ongoing right now. We have extended the construction zone on McClay Boulevard. So what was 2 separate zones, 2 separate phases, is now combined into one to really expedite construction.
Great.
We do really want to express our gratitude to 2 businesses, Sage Restaurant and the Florida Court Clerks Association. With their understanding, we have pretty much had their sole access be from Mosswood Chase. So with their understanding that they're going to have a little bit of a pains to get this kind of big, large-scale construction effort completed faster. The next phase is going to be the roundabout construction. This is at that pinch point of McClay Boulevard and McClay Commerce. This is going to be a very quick turnaround. We have talked with our contractor. He is on board with a very fast construction sequence. So it will require a detour onto Thomasville Road, but we're going to do this as fast as possible and get that pinch point back open to get our detour back onto Financial Plaza Drive. So after 30 to 45 days, which in the construction world is very fast, we will have that roundabout open. The construction's still ongoing on McClay Boulevard, and that detour back open on Financial Plaza Drive. And this is all to get construction cleared of McClay Boulevard, have it open in time for the fall shopping season, which we understand from the businesses in the area is a key season. And so we really wanted to aim to meet that deadline. Once McClay Boulevard is open, there will be a few small closures after it's fully open to do final lift of asphalt, striping, but these are going to be short-term closures, and we do have the flexibility on the time of day and the time and the day of the week on when these closures. So no more long-term closures of McClay Boulevard after the fall time period or into summer time period. I have to do a disclaimer. Construction is a fluid process. Please understand that there are things outside of our control. We can't control the weather. So just know that this is our goal. We're going to try really hard. Our contractor is on board to really try to meet these deadlines. Anything that changes, we will always let everybody know of changes in construction detours and phasing. We have a wonderful communications team who puts things out on social media. We do e-blast to people in the area to make sure everybody's aware of upcoming detours or roadway closures. Here is some of the websites that we have. We have a wonderful city website, wonderful blueprint website. They have a history of the projects. You can even go in there and listen to a public meeting that happened in 2020 when we were all cooped up in our houses with COVID. And then the QR code does have a link to our story map, which was a wonderful GIS feature that you can really go through and see what all these wonderful features are. You can see where the playground's going to be, where you're going to be walking your dog, where you can see on the pedestrian bridge. So it really gives you an interactive look at these wonderful improvements that are going to just complete this destination area for the city of Tallahassee. With that, I'll have any questions.
Thank you. Communication is key to the businesses. Communication about road closures is key. I've noticed an uptick in the presence in the past couple of months. I'm sure it's a lot from the pressure that we've received from the Market District businesses, rightfully so. Appreciate you responding and look forward to the completion of the roads to get it open. Yes. Let's go to public comment first.
Thank you, Mayor. First speaker on this item will be Sam Osborne, followed by Serena Moyle. Speakers can come, obviously, to the podium there in the middle of the room. You'll have 3 minutes each for remarks, and I'll give you a heads up at 30 seconds, and the light in front of the mayor will turn yellow at 30 seconds as well.
Thanks for coming. I appreciate y'all staying. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Sam Osborne. Appreciate you. I'm going to read off of this. As I get older, my hard drive gets full, so in an effort to not have to offload data and memorize this, I'm going to go off the script. I've owned restaurants throughout Tallahassee for 28 years. I've actually started right here in what's now known as the Market District. Currently, 3 of my restaurants are located in the Market District and are being devastated by the impact of this construction. Aside from COVID, this has been the worst negative impact we've ever seen as it relates to sales and employee losses. And if it stays on track to actually be completed at the end of this year, it's actually going to be more devastating than COVID was. The vast majority of our businesses come from the north side of Tallahassee and the neighborhoods along Thomasville Road and Meridian Road, and the shutdowns of McClay Boulevard and McClay Commerce have literally put a squeeze on the access for our customers to be able to get to us. In my business, we run KPIs, or key performance indicators, on a weekly, a monthly, and a yearly basis. Our 2025 comparative sales were up over our 2024 sales, and then all of a sudden they went down as soon as the closure started. We've already started 2026, and we're down double digits again in sales. I thought for the first weeks that it was just something going on with my stores only, and then after talking to other business owners and the staff, we all realized it was occurring in all the businesses in the Market District. I only represent 3 of about 100 businesses in the Market District, and we all have our own numbers that can prove the negative impact that this is continuing while it goes on. To give you an idea of the impact this had on my staff prior to the road closures, my total employee hours at just my Island Wing Company restaurant were 1,200 to 1,300 hours a week of employees. We've been forced to reduce those numbers down to 850 to 900, which is about a 20 to 25% reduction in productive labor. Commissioner Porter, you mentioned at the beginning of all this that you can't be out everywhere in the community to see what's going on. You have to wait to hear from it. And I'm here to tell you that it's happening, and it's happening severely to a lot of businesses in this area. I'm grateful for the project itself, but what we need to know now is how are our elected officials sitting here today going to help us and our employees get this project done much sooner? Myself, along with approximately the other 100 businesses in the Market District and all of our employees who live and work here are asking what kind of commitment can we expect back from you guys to expedite this project? In my businesses, whenever we have challenges, I like to gather people as much as I can, bring them together. We get out the old dry erase board. I ask everyone's thoughts and ideas, and no idea is too dumb or far-reaching. I wonder what maybe, could we add some big incentives for the contract to get it done sooner? Can we bring in more contractors? Can we start earlier in the morning, maybe go a little bit later in the evenings? I want to leave you with a thought. Walt Disney built all of Disneyland in 364 days. The Pentagon, the largest government building with over 6.5 million square foot, took 18 months to build.
You're at 3 minutes.
I have no doubt that there were really a lot of smart people that were involved in this part, but the Pentagon and Disneyland could be done completely in less than a year and a half. Why can't this be done in a fraction of the time?
you.
Surely somebody is a Walt
Thank you,
Disney in
Sam.
here.
Your time is up, my man.
All right, thank you. I appreciate
Hey,
it.
real quick for the record, Island Wings, what are the other two restaurants?
Rock and Roll Sushi and Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Got it. Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Serena Moyle, and then Susie Bush-Transu.
I'm Serena Moyle. I'm here as the volunteer president of the Market District Association, and spokesperson for over almost 100 businesses in the area around Market Street, some who are here today. And I would like everybody who is supporting this agenda item to please stand so you can show your support, that they've been waiting here patiently, and all of us in some way, in very serious ways, have been impacted. But first, I would like to thank you. I would like to thank you for listening to our appeals. As Molly said, we've been working. You've listened, you've respected our views, and everybody understands this was an unintended consequence. It is not just the businesses that are lining the areas of the park and the stormwater improvement. It is the access road. But I'd like to thank Allison Ferris of the communications team, who has been #1 in keeping me informed of everything and doing, every time something new happens, she lets me know right away. I'd like to thank the city manager who met with us to hear firsthand what we are suffering and the businesses that are down overall 20 to 25%. I'd like you to let that sink in. Those are lives, those are families, those are jobs. And what we've also encountered are these safety issues. When you have to turn and you redirect that traffic from Timberlane onto Thomasville, if any of you had had that experience, all of a sudden, the lights are not timed correctly, and you are sitting there in the middle of the intersection between Trader Joe's, the north side, across from Hobby Lobby, all of that, and it is a nightmare, and nobody knows where to go. It's very frightening, and it is a safety issue. And our friends and customers are part of the problem because they're not coming anymore. And you know why? Because it's such a pain. It is such a pain to get to us. And we are missing our foot traffic. We have empty parking lots. Our restaurants are not crowded, and our shops, our numbers are all reflecting this same data. So how can we help? Because we are here to work with you, and I think all that the staff can say that we are not here to cause blame. We are here to support. There was an issue with Comcast. We said, tell us, we'll get on it right away. We'll call who we know.
You have 20 seconds left.
We want your support. We'd like you to keep the pressure on the contractor to start the roundabout on March 1st so that our 30 to 45 days starts then. Not April 30th, but March 1st so that we can get that on. We want a monthly agenda item here at the City Commission so that Molly can tell you how we're doing. And we want more signage. Signage, signage, signage. Thank you.
Our next speaker, please.
Susie Bush-Transu, and then Alexa Hensley.
Great. Your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Susie Bush Transu, proud owner of Hearth and Soul for 10 years, and we're on Market Street and have lived in Tallahassee for 30 years. So I want to add to my thanks, Serena, as well as the other business owners and residents have asked for us to keep our voices heard and to really ask for specific things beyond what has already been communicated. So yes, you all listened, and thank you for meeting with us. Thank you for listening and trying to adjust the original plan, which has put an incredible burden and financial strain on these businesses that are working hard to employ people, to support not-for-profit organizations, to be a community hub, to support artisans in the community. These road closures are immediately affecting the ability for people to get to us, and therefore it makes it difficult to sustain employment, to support not-for-profit organizations, to have events that support other fellow community members that value what we're doing. Those are things that Hearth and Soul focuses on. Before the road closure in September, that artery that kept people off of Thomasville Road, before that road closure in 2025, Hearth and Soul was trending up 10%. We were having a good year. After that happened in September, we were down between 5 and 24% each month. That is continuing now. And we are working to find other avenues of growth outside of the people that come to our shop to try and sustain and keep our team employed. We're working really hard to do that. We're spending more money on communication because there is so much uncertainty. Clients, customers are coming in today and saying, I'm so sorry, I haven't been able to get here for the last few months. That road is still closed. And we say, no, it's not. No, it's not. Come join me. When was the last time you guys in the last 30 days drove north through Financial, onto Lake Commerce, or drove south and looked at the signage? Because honestly, I can show you the videos. You think it's closed because of the way the signage is. That is the biggest low-hanging fruit that we can improve is the signage. There is not a detour sign right now today to turn right onto the Financial Drive that is open. So you keep going, and then you get to Thomasville. That's not where you want to be. And then the safety concerns that have been expressed by employees trying to get home from work and the congestion at those interchanges. So in summary, please come and drive the district with us. Low-hanging fruit, address the signage. Please start the roundabout March 1st. Get it done in 30 to 45 days. We are here to work with you, and we appreciate you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker.
Next speaker is Alexa Hansley, and then Tony Trusty.
Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, hello, good evening. Alexa Hansley. I'm sales manager at Hearth and Soul, currently the Market District. I'm here to also reiterate and share the negative impact that the road closures have had on not only Hearth and Soul, but the entire Market District. October, November, December are some of our most important months for our businesses there at the district, right around the time of the road closures. I will tell you that I live in Killarney Estates. My commute was 8 minutes to and from work. My commute personally grew to over 40 to 45 minutes. I lived in downtown Atlanta for 13 years, moved back to Tallahassee. I know how to drive. I know how to manipulate when there is a roadblock. I could not do anything. Neither could our employees, team members, clients, potential clients. You could not enter or exit the Market Street District if your life depended on it. You cannot exit Market Street District, the road. You turn right on Thomasville. The majority of us need to turn left. We all want to go north. That's where we are, Killarney Estates and north of there. You couldn't, that was impossible. If you tried to exit Market Street to Timberlane Road and cross Thomasville Road, you could not get across the road. You could sit through 3 or 4 green lights. You would be stuck in the middle of Thomasville Road. The timing of the lights were not adjusted. You could not turn left. You could not go straight. The only way you could go is right, which is the direction none of us wanted to go. So again, my ask is, because we also have performance metrics we live by, we are a business, we're all here to thrive. You help me, I help you, we all help one another for the city of Tallahassee. And my ask is the signage needs to be more clear. Also, the road closures, we just heard that it's going to continue, different phases throughout this year. That causes great concern because, again, the confusion. Clients come in every day and still say to me,
You're at 30 seconds remaining.
cannot get here, don't know when the roads are open or closed. So it needs to be clear, the communication needs to be clear and improved throughout this year would be our ask. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Tony Trusty. That's the last speaker I have at this time.
Great. Your name and address for the record, please.
Tony Trusty, Shamrock Cleaners. One, I think it's going to be phenomenal when it's done, and I'm going to try and make this very, very simplified. Roughly 100 businesses in the Market District. Those 100 businesses employ, believe it or not, over 2,000 people. If you take, I was a director of finance for many years, so numbers is my thing. So if you take 100 businesses, varying size, you're looking at gross revenues in that area over $300 million. These are all small businesses, but employing over 2,000 people. So you take that and say you're off 10%, that's 300,000. Say you're off 20%, that's 600,000. So we're all vested in this community. We put our kids to school here, we shop here, we do everything here. So the businesses that are here, we are trying to offset, absorb some of those impacts, but eventually they have to trickle down to our team members. And it's difficult and it's painful because although they know and understand what's happening, it still puts a financial strain. So if you didn't divide it up and make it 100 individual businesses, but the city had one big employer that had $300 million in revenue and 2,000 employees, that'd be pretty huge. And when we talk about being off 20%, which we're off, roughly 20% year over year, 20% this January and February is very different. Why? Last year, we didn't have session. If we're off 20% now with session happening, when March comes and session ends, we'll be off 35, 40% because session was happening this time last year. So my biggest ask, or what I'm just trying to get everybody to understand, is see the human toll, the human impact, because, I'm a dry cleaner. All of my garments go on hangers. Hangers are made of steel. Everybody knows what's going on with the U.S. and steel. So you absorb that piece, the tariff steel piece, and then you have the other thing going on.
30 seconds remaining.
Compound. So if I'm at 30 seconds, that's pretty good. I've timed it at about 25. So that's really it. One thing that it has done is it's really helped our community to work together because literally when we were feeling it, we walk across the street to Nick's and say, how's your January doing? And then, everybody had the same impact. So I'm ecstatic about the project.
Thank you.
You're at 3 minutes.
Thank you. Our next speaker.
No additional speakers on the item.
Got it. Information item. Open it up conversation. Commissioner Williams-Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank everybody for coming. And I do plan to drive and see really what's going on. I walked the Market Street District a few years ago before the project began and looked at some of the things that had been requested to enhance, and also being, the blueprint project with the park and all of that. And thank you for providing the information of what has been taken, the feedback taken and what has been provided. But what I'm hearing is that some additional signage is needed. Communication is happening pretty good, but I guess communicating to folks who are trying to get to your businesses that the certain roads are open or what have you, so that they know that they can get to you. Some of what are some of the other things that we can do that can, starting on March 1st, I know we're gonna make sure that happens, starting on March 1st, or somebody's gonna get some big incentives, penalties, or something in case that doesn't happen, so that we can try to get this done. And I appreciate the fact that the contractor is on board and is working with us and agreeing to do the roundabout real quick. I'm a person, is Ernie still here? My neighborhood, I live off of Jim Lee Road, and Magnolia just reopened. So I understand, I feel you.
Yeah.
I've been having to drive through my neighborhood to get out. And so I get it, I really do get it. So if those are some things that I've heard, there's some low-hanging fruit, some things that we can do, if we can get that done, that helps. And I don't know about building the Pentagon. I didn't know if they did that so quickly, but we're not trying to build a Pentagon, but hopefully we can get this done so that we can get folks back into circulation, because we need people back at work. We need people in the restaurants and in the shops shopping. So is that something that we can make sure that happens? Signage, information about road openings and that kind of thing to the public, to the community?
Molly, you hear loud and clear?
Yeah.
Commissioner Porter?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to just apologize for the disturbance. I can only imagine. I live on 7th, which is also seeing a lot of work going on, but I know that that's a personal inconvenience is different than the impact that it's having on businesses, and I take that seriously, and I hope that we find a way to mitigate the stress and damage that unfortunately this has caused. I agree with Commissioner Williams-Cox, signage, exploring every option, whether it's starting earlier in the day, as was mentioned, certainly addressing any safety issues with the traffic signals. I don't actually live too far from the Market District, and I have driven there recently, and it is very difficult to navigate. So I hear that, and I've experienced that personally. I have a question for staff. How, if at all, are we still working with Blueprint on this, whether as the funding agency or staffing? What does that look like?
You want to talk about the
And I guess what I'm getting at is sort of who is paying for some of the, whether it's accelerating the timeline, like does any of this have a cost associated with it? And would there be more costs associated with speeding it up even further?
So at this point, we have not incurred any additional costs. How the costs are split is the park has its own pay schedule, and we have another schedule with the city. We have an MOU or MOA, I always get this confused, outlining how everything works, who pays for what. And we have been communicating with our partners at Blueprint this entire time. Autumn's been in meetings with us, so we have been discussing the implications of our changes to the construction sequencing.
Okay. Thank you.
Right, Commissioner Matlow.
I'm sorry.
On point, I'm sorry.
On
Commissioner
point.
Williams-Cox, and then Commissioner Matlow.
Molly, so we're asking the contractors to speed up, but there's no cost associated with that for them?
Mr. Mayor.
Sure, Mr. Manager.
I think Molly can address that. So the road we're talking about, obviously, is the city's UUPI department is leading that effort. But as Molly mentioned in her presentation, this was all bundled together. There's a single contractor that's doing both road work and park work.
Okay.
And while I'm not sure we've identified extra cost, what we've done, working hand in glove with the Blueprint team, is divert resources from the park construction to the road construction.
Good.
So there is consequence.
Yeah.
I think the consequence, and hopefully we hold it there, is timing relative to the park.
Okay.
But we'll accelerate the road. And Molly, I don't want to misspeak, but I think I've summarized that correctly. So this is pulling everybody together, listening very closely to the priorities of the Market District folks about the time of the road, the impact of the road, especially the impact of the road in the fall shopping season. We're very sensitive to that. We know in between that period, we have a roundabout construction that could be done at probably an ideal time. I think that's why you're here in March, because obviously the shopping and patronage is seasonal to some degree. It's not even throughout the year. And so the cost we see right now is related to the labor being diverted from the park to the road. And I think we've all come together to find that solution. Molly, do you want to add anything to that?
That's correct. I would only add that we're really just kind of changing the phasing of construction, not the deliverable. So we're not asking them to build a new road. That would have been an additional cost that we would have to absorb. But we're just asking to kind of rechange the sequencing. I think we've added a few small efforts, like we've added a valve here to really allow the flexibility of how the contractor construct it and doing that as fast as possible.
Thank you.
Great. Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, thank you to all the business owners who came out today. I know your struggles. I lived through, I had a business on Gain Street long before the road construction there, and it was, frankly, a nightmare, even with the city's efforts to try to accommodate. And what I noticed, and I think you may notice as well, is a lot of times while the city has an interest in keeping access to businesses, the contractors tend to not care as much about maintaining that access. I could remember while the city was pushing us to always have access to our front door, a contractor put down a 2x4 plank walk over mud to our front door and then suggested people come through our storeroom through a dark back alley, and those sorts of things are unacceptable. So I know the importance of making sure we're proactive as a city and maintaining access, being creative when needed to keep the roads open as long as possible and only closing them when needed. So I have a little bit of PTSD from hearing your stories because I know exactly what you're experiencing. I would say I agree with all of the points you made. Signage, I met with at least one business owner down there to look at it. Even where my GPS took me, there was no signage clearly telling me what the detour would be to get there. I know Tallahassee, I knew the streets I could turn on, but the signage wasn't in place. And I did reach out to Ms. Jimenville and Mr. Gooch, I believe, have been in contact. And to address that, I think to make sure, Mr. Manager, all of the businesses, there's adequate signage. I mean, that's something easily that could be done the next day. If that's not done, let's get that done as soon as possible. On the March 1st the start date, is that confirmed, Mr. Manager?
I don't believe so. Molly, do you have, I know they're working to try to get that
The
scheduled.
time frame was March, April, but I'll confirm if everybody's saying, yes, let's start March 1st, we can immediately call the contractor and see if the March 1st date works for him.
Make it work
Again, the
for him.
contractor and those subs have been wonderful, so I think that it'll be okay.
I think you're hearing from us. We want it to work.
Yes,
Send them our regards.
I heard yes. Yes, March 1st.
Hold on there, buddy. Commissioner Matlow, you have the floor.
Thank you. And then the last request that I heard today was to just have regular updates to the City Commission to make sure that this doesn't fall behind. So if we can schedule an update at our March meeting, hopefully will be that progress started March 1st and the signages are in place. Mr. Manager?
That's entirely up to
the commission. I don't know if we need a monthly update on this construction formally on agenda, but I encourage everybody to stay in touch with the district.
Sure.
And as Molly, we are being updated as a commission. I'm assuming Serena is the point of contact as the president of the, make sure she's getting everything that we get so that there's a complete I know you're doing this anyway, but make sure that there's a complete communication, no breakdown in communication. Serena, we don't need to wait a month. If you need us before then, let us know. Here's the challenge, though, and this is what happened the last time. It's just because you call for a meeting, you can't have all 5 of us show up unless we properly advertise it as a public meeting, or else we're in violation of sunshine. So it just takes a little bit of notice on our part to be able to show that we notice it in the district, so all of us can come and participate. Otherwise, it's whoever raises their hand first and goes, the rest of us figure they're going to go, we're not going to go. Does that make sense? Okay. Sounds good. Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and that's acceptable. We can hear from the Market District, and Mr. Manager, if you can just email us on March 1st, letting us know that construction is underway and the signage is in place, that would suffice. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sounds good. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to personally thank Susie. She and I had a very long conversation yesterday. I think it was yesterday, Susie. Got so much going on. It's hard to keep up with things sometimes. But thank you, Susie. And we talked about many of the same issues that you all have brought to us today. And I have personally observed when we started looking at the project, I can't remember the young lady's name, but she gave me a walk-in tour and pointed out where the improvements were going to be made to the park and the road improvements. And I've been out there several times. Even though I live on the south side of town, my wife and I often visit some of the establishments out there. And so I've had an opportunity to see firsthand the issues that you all have brought to us as well. I think you have probably seen we've got an excellent staff. They've listened, they've heard. I don't know that we need to necessarily be hands-on as a commission. We are a policy-making body, not to oversee their work on a day-to-day basis. That's their supervisors and the city manager. But we've heard what you've had to say, and certainly you can be assured that these things are going to happen and will happen as quickly as possible, because we don't want to see any of our businesses harmed in any way, especially when it comes to your profit and what you provide for individuals and families who you employ here in this community. So thank you all for what you do, and I'm sure I can speak for all of us here on the dais that you can be assured that these issues will be addressed and we'll get beyond this, and everybody hopefully will be happy again. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Excellent.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I am keenly aware. I am there every day, every day. Either, man, I should get some bar stools donated at Rock and Roll Sushi to the Daily Boys. Much that they're there eating, and it's great. All y'all do a wonderful job, but I live right there. Tony, you know I'm in your shop 2 or 3 times a week. I am very familiar with all the businesses out there, and y'all do a great job. And we're going to step it up to the plate. I have full faith and confidence in Molly and her team to be able to deliver. We got great people, and we're going to take it up a notch. And we understand you, we hear you, and we're going to work with you, okay? This is an information-only item, but I'll take a motion just to formally accept the update that took place from Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed. Passes unanimously 5-0. That's the last item to come before us under policy formation direction. We're going to take a 25-minute break. We'll be back at 6 o'clock for the public hearing.
All right.
I'd love to call the public hearing of the City of Tallahassee City Commission meeting to order. It is 6:05. I apologize. We are running 5 minutes late as advertised. We are on the public hearings. We have 2 public hearings before us, 16.01 and 16.02. 16.01, Madam Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item number 16.01 is the first and only public hearing on the 12th Amendment to the Integrated Development Order for the Southwood Development of Regional Impact, DRI. The recommended action is option 1, conduct the first and only public hearing on the proposed change to the Southwood Development of Regional Impact and approve the 12th Amendment to the Integrated Development Order for Southwood DRI. John Reddick, Director of Growth Management, will present this item and is available to address any questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Reddick.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is an amendment to the Southwood Development of Regional Impact. It is a unique and very, I'll say, niche amendment to this. It is specifically involving 3 properties that are commercial properties that are in the area of the Publix there, and specifically, it's granting them additional concurrency entitlements, allowing them to satisfy those through our normal concurrency process. It does add some entitlements to the overall Southwood DRI to make them allowed to do the square footages they want. You've approved similar amendments recently as last year for this, for again, just unique small business owners in these areas. So this specific item, the reason it even has to come to you is specifically because it adds the total square footage of all, the overall usage, land use within the Southwood DRI, and that requires your approval. Even though we're talking a few thousand square feet ultimately. But available for any questions about this specific
All right, hang tight. Do we have any public comment on this item?
Yes, Mayor, we do have several speakers on the item.
Excellent.
The first speaker on the item is Bernard Stevens, Jr., followed by Barry Wilcox, although I believe Mr. Wilcox may be here only if you have questions.
Okay. Mr. Stevens?
He waves.
Okay,
Waves.
thank you.
Then our next
Mr.
speaker,
Wilcox?
Question.
Questions? Okay, our next speaker?
John Ray.
Thank you for joining us. Your name and address for the record, please.
John Ray, 3639 Mossy Creek Lane in the community of Southwood. I'm a 20-year resident, and I am 20-year resident of Southwood, and I lead a neighborhood resident team dedicated to land use and zoning issues, and I've done it for 20 years. The agenda item tonight is the 12th Amendment to the Integrated Development Order for the Southwood DRI. I'm going to talk about that particular proposed amendment. And I also want to talk briefly and broadly about the durability and enforceability of the overall development order in Southwood. Regarding the DRI 12th Amendment, we have on its face, no concerns with it. I've been assured that this expands the commercial entitlements to accommodate 3 parcels on the west side of our community. We are in support of compliant commercial development in Southwood. As to the broader development order, as I stand here tonight, and many of you know this, our master developer, the St. Joe Company, stands in significant violation of the overall Southwood development order. It's very concerning to the residents of Southwood. They have missed 2 major road construction deadlines, but they've done more than miss them. They've ignored them. These deadlines have been out there for years. We've been talking to them for years. I negotiated with your staff in St. Joe more than 2 years ago for these deadlines, which we gave them some reprieve on. They did nothing, and they ignored you. The next step is very clear. In the development order, this body, the City of Tallahassee, is required to execute enforcement procedures. It is required to send a notice of violation, and it's required to pass a resolution of violation. I cannot think of any more glaring violation than a refusal to build 2 major commuter roads in our community and ignore you. A word of caution. You will be told that this is hard. You will be told that this is complex. You will be told that the information and facts of this case are fuzzy. None of
30
that,
seconds remaining.
None of that is true. 0 is true. Your pathway is enforcement. I'm here speaking at the end of this agenda item because we should be on the agenda, but we are not. We should be on this agenda at the next meeting declaring a violation of our development order and executing penalties on our master development. It is not hard. I don't want to be here.
You're at 3 minutes.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Our only other speaker is Jessica Eiserman, also here for questions if you have them. Otherwise, no speakers.
All right, Mr. Raddick, who is the applicant in this manner?
The applicant is, Stearns Weaver Miller is the applicant on behalf of the business owners.
Who are the business owners?
I believe it's a Sherwin-Williams and a Dunkin' Donuts. 3 property total. And what we did, instead of taking 2 separate items, we were able to get the business owners to join and do one application together. That's how that worked.
Okay, so the issue before us is separate from the issue that Mr. read, which I'm sure we're going to have a conversation on in a second as well, because it all is interrelated. The issue before us and the applicant before us is separate from that issue.
That's correct. The master developer of those references in no way involved in this request.
Okay, sounds good. Madam Attorney, this is quasi-judicial, correct? I was under the assumption it was, is it not?
I think the next one is, but this one is not.
Okay, excellent. All right, let's open it up. Any further comment on this? Mr. Clerk, any other public comment?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'd like to move staff recommendation for option number 1, Mr. Mayor.
Option number 1's been properly moved by the Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox. Commissioner Porter, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I understand that the county commission also has to approve this item. Is that correct? Have they taken it up yet?
They have not. That was scheduled for their February meeting and was pulled from that agenda.
Okay. What happens if they don't approve this item? It doesn't move forward?
That's correct. And I would look to the city attorney for guidance on that to answer that, but that's.
I believe that's correct. It would not move forward.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Comments? Commissioner Williams-Cox.
Do we anticipate that the county will have an issue with this? Have we heard of any issues?
I couldn't even speculate on that, to be honest with you, Commissioner. I don't know.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no further comment, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously 5-0. We are on item number 16.02. Madam Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item number 16.02 is the first and only public hearing on ordinance number 26-Z-01AA, an ordinance of the City of Tallahassee amending the Southwood Planned Unit Development on the official zoning map of the City of Tallahassee. Project site located on approximately 3,322 acres and generally bounded by Appalachie Parkway on the north, Southwood Plantation Road and Biltmore Avenue on the east, Tram Road on the south, and Capitol Circle Southeast on the west, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. The recommended action is option 1, conduct the first and only public hearing and adopt ordinance number 26-Z-01AA, thereby amending the Southwood PUD concept plan based on the findings and conditions of the Planning Commission, the information contained in the report, and any evidence presented at the hearing. In this matter, any ex partes disclosures concerning this item are available via the hyperlink included in the agenda item as published in the board doc system.
All right, do we have any public comment on this item?
No, sir.
Can we get staff to do a quick presentation on the item? Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, Mr. City Manager. So this is an amendment to the PUD, effectively the custom zoning district for the Southwood development that makes the same changes that the proposed changes to the DRI makes, adjusting the non-residential square footage allowed on 3 different properties to allow the Dunkin' Donuts and Sherwin-Williams to occur. It also will remove a table that is currently contained in the DRI as well, kind of eliminating some duplicative efforts so that we don't have to change the PUD every single time a very small square footage is changed within the DRI. The PUD, if you all vote to approve this change tonight, it won't take effect until after the DRI is approved.
Okay, thank you. Any public comment on this item?
No, sir.
All right, colleagues.
Move staff recommendation for option number 1.
Second.
Option number 1 has been properly moved by the Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously 5-0. I do believe related to this, I would like to make a motion that we do bring back at the next meeting a full review and update on the transportation development order issue regarding the St. Joe Company and the neighborhood, just to make sure that we're fully aware of what's going on, because I think that we have some serious questions. I met with the Neighborhood Association. I think everybody has.
I
And
meet with them tomorrow afternoon.
yeah, I think it's important that we all are clearly well-versed on what's going on.
I have not met with them, and I don't see where I've received any requests
Okay.
to do so. So,
I'm sure they'll reach out. They're
I'd second your motion.
Okay. Commissioner Matlow?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To further comment on that, so St. Joe was expected to complete Orange Avenue between Biltmore and Southwood Plantation Road by the end of 2025, according to the development order that was signed. And I mean, it just comes down to what I think we say all the time is we just need developers to do what they say they're going to do. And at the end of the day, this roadway was promised to the neighborhood. So I think we need more than just an update at the next meeting. Currently, there's 2 projects St. Joe has underway that are coming before the DRC, one on February 23rd and one on March 9th, both before our next scheduled city commission meeting. One's 147 residential lots and one's 42 lots. The nature of the development agreement and the notice of violation and why we need a city resolution is to halt all new development by St. Joe in the region until they comply with the order to build the roadway. So, Mr. Manager, I don't know if you can give an update on where they are on the roadway, but I think we would need to take further action. One, to put a temporary halt on new development before we have an opportunity to take action on a notice of violation in a city resolution.
Are you offering that as an amendment to the motion or just a statement in the record?
Sure, yeah, I would make it an amendment to the motion.
All right, I'm not prepared, Commissioner Matlow, to accept it. We can take a vote on it if you want, just because I don't have enough information and I need to get a clear understanding. This predates all of us, and I want to make sure before the punitive action is taken, if any action is taken, that we are all on the same page with the same information that staff can bring before us. So I'm not ready to accept that part, but I am looking forward to it coming back to us, okay?
And I'm not requesting punitive action. I'm requesting the opportunity for punitive action to come to the meeting and to have a temporary delay on any action until we have that meeting.
I consider temporary delay as punitive action.
Yeah.
So I want to hear about what's going on first before moving forward with that. Commissioner Williams-Cox.
and my concern would be the potential of what this could result in us being sued, because if that was not if these things are not connected, or they are connected, or there's nothing that made this a part of the contract that they signed or agreed to, that puts us in a bad spot. I know something needs to be done, but I just don't want to put us, the city, in a position to be sued because we are now not adhering to a contract or whatever that's in place, or following our own policies and procedures that are in place. That I don't recall there being something where you could stop a project because another project didn't occur. So I'm just not.
On point, Mr. Mayor.
All right, sure, Commissioner Matlow.
That's exactly what the development order speaks to, the ability to stop these projects when the obligations of the developer are not met in the development order. The obligation was to complete this roadway, and it's a small section. It's really frustrating to see that it hasn't been built yet at all. Southwood is a massive development. We're talking, I don't know if that's an eighth of a mile or less of a spot of the road that should be completed. And I'm not asking for a major delay. We're talking about a matter of weeks. You know, if we continue to meet bi-monthly, we would have a meeting in advance of some of these meetings, but we only meet once a month, and these 2 scheduled items are both before our next meeting. Furthermore, this isn't new to St. Joe. This isn't new to anybody. They had years to know this road should have been completed before even submitting these for new development. If they didn't uphold their obligations in the development order, we need to, as the city, enforce what they said they were going to do. And I think by letting these proceed before we get to that conversation, we're relinquishing our ability to do just that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And Mr. Mayor.
We are not relinquishing our ability. No. We are just holding until we have all information before us, and we still have all opportunity to take all decisions necessary. But I agree with Commissioner Williams-Cox. There's a lot of intricate legal details involved with this as well. We do need to take a hard look on behalf of the neighborhood, and I appreciate the president bringing it before us today. We will do that, but I think that we need to take a hard look at everything that's going on, the role that we play before we actually take any type of action, whether it's permanent or temporary. Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the original motion was at our next meeting to have an overview and an update on where we are. Is that correct? And the substitute was to pause on any approval of the 2 projects that are coming to the DRC. Commissioner Matlow, what was the substitute?
Yes, to temporarily pause or reschedule those until after our next city commission meeting so we can address the development order. And I would add, Mr. Mayor, by not doing that, we are taking an action. We are taking an action to ignore the development order and what it lays out and granting the ability of St. Joe to proceed with their items. So sometimes the absence of action is also an action if it's spelled out in a development order.
Well,
Mr. Mayor,
On point.
I would totally disagree with that.
I agree.
Absolutely disagree with it. We are taking action, and I think it's the appropriate action to take for us to be educated about what these projects or what this, I have no idea what this other project is that St. Joe is proposing and is applying for, and until I would know that, until that's brought before us, I could not intellectually make a decision about what to do with the development order. I agree with the neighborhood. I'm president of my neighborhood association, and I can understand where they're coming from and certainly want to see that happen as quickly as possible. But I don't want us to do something and we're not educated about what it is we're being asked to do at this point.
Okay, Commissioner Porter, thank you for waiting patiently.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, first, I'll second the substitute motion. I want us to enforce the development order to the greatest extent possible. I understand we're not all ready to move forward today. I would be ready to move forward today to send a notice of violation and to pass a resolution of violation, frankly, based on my reading of the development order and what I see to be a pretty egregious violation of a commitment and a promise made and a contract signed. That being said, will the original motion, will that include information about action, legal action we could take? Is that what you envision in addition to just an update?
All encompassing.
Okay.
All right, there's a substitute motion on the table made by Commissioner Matlow, seconded by Commissioner Porter. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Fails 3-2 with the mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioner Williams-Cox in dissent. We're back on the original motion to bring the item back before us at the March meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It passes unanimously 5-0. Thank you all. Okay, we are now on unagended speakers. We have nothing else before us at the public hearing. Earlier tonight, we took a motion and we have limited unagended speakers to 30 minutes, which we will begin shortly. I want to remind everybody to please work with me so that we have the opportunity to hear everybody and as many people as we possibly can. This is a great opportunity for us to listen, but I also have to maintain a certain level of decorum so that we can run the meeting itself as well. And in fact, I'm very proud of my colleagues, all of us taking the 5-0 stance, reaffirming our policy being 108.07, which does read intact on unagended speakers that there will be no personal attacks, and that if so, that I have the right as the chair to recorrect and redirect. So I'm just asking, come on, let's all work together and let's have a great unagended public hearing, okay? Sounds great. Okay, Mr. Clerk, 625, our first speaker.
We have 20 speakers, Mayor. The first is Wendy Halleck.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Halleck, 309 Garner Court, Tallahassee, Florida. Thank you for hearing me today. I spoke at the last City Commission meeting along with others who are angry but frankly heartsick that the City of Tallahassee continues to partner with immigration enforcement via the 287G agreement. I'm here again today to respectfully bring you information about community sentiment. I've handed in a stack of petitions. We have close to 1,000 signed petitions from city residents who are likewise asking you to revoke the agreement. Members of the community see that ICE continues to act in a lawless fashion, racially profiling individuals and holding them without due process. The signers of this petition recognize that ICE is clearly working outside the bounds of the U.S. Constitution. The signers of this petition see that ICE's violent, reckless, and lawless actions have endangered and killed immigrants and U.S. citizens alike. The signers are heartsick that ICE is tearing apart hardworking families in our own community who have contributed to our community in countless ways. The ICE agreement blurs the line between local policing and federal immigration enforcement, making it nearly impossible for immigrants to reach out for regular police support when needed. Bottom line, we believe that it's beneath the TPD's dignity and honor for even a single TPD officer to assist an organization that operates in a way that is inconsistent with their own standards and does not adhere to the Constitution of the United States. Make no mistake, I do not stand here as an isolated, disgruntled individual. City residents are organizing around this issue and watching the actions of our commissioners. Students, working people, retired people, countless civic groups and churches are organizing, and we are all collaborating and we are all connecting with each other. There is a groundswell of community members dedicated to just and humane immigration policies. We're dedicated to raising money, knocking on doors, making calls, sending postcards, posting on social media, and communicating widely so that we elect leaders that possess the moral integrity and courage to take a stand against cruelty and injustice and oust from office those who witness the degradation of the U.S. Constitution, yet refuse to stand up for it. Respectfully, Tallahassee was voted an All-American City by the National Civic League in 2025 and in other years. Civic engagement and inclusivity of diverse populations was part of the main criteria for this distinction. All over the country, mayors and commissioners are making difficult decisions and choosing to stand up for immigrant communities and the U.S. Constitution and removing themselves from formal agreements with ICE. These are truly all-American cities. It's not too late for you to change your minds, to stand up for democracy, and lead Tallahassee to uphold true American values and the Constitution. We, the undersigned, ask you again to revoke the 287G agreement.
Thank you.
And you should have those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And by the way, for security purposes, the signs are fine. They're fine. They're a regular sheet of paper. They're fine. Okay. Our next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Judy Mandrell. Judy Mandrell no longer here. Then Logan Whitman.
Your name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
Logan Whitman, 4504 Eltham Park, 32303. On January the 7th of this year, Renee Nicole Good was shot by ICE officers. A week later, we held a city commissioners meeting where this meeting was adjourned while I was at the podium before I could even address. Among the things I was going to say, including the call for the revocal of the 287G agreement, was that Renee was not the first to be murdered by ICE, but she most certainly was not going to be the last. This was proven true on January 24th when Alex Preddy was also shot by ICE officers, executed in the streets. ICE has proven to be a terrorist force, in my opinion, backed by the federal government and committing blatantly illegal acts. They are unsafe to all residents that they enter the city of, including Minnesota, and they will most likely be, well, not most likely, certainly be unsafe to the residents of this city if they ever operate here. I was only prepared for a 1-minute statement, so I'll try to wrap this up as quickly as possible. We cannot let them in the city. We cannot, in any form. We cannot cooperate with them. We should not let them in this city. We should not let them arrest anyone. We should not put them in, I'm sorry. I'll yield my time so that other speakers may speak.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Liam Jones. I believe it's Liam Jones.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Liam Jones, 410 Victory Garden Drive, apartment 1222. Okay, so the stated motive for the time limit voted on today relates to this topic, so I'll say up front. The time limit was brought up in regards to organized political groups being a problem for this meeting. I understand the need for decorum here, but I don't think anyone here wants to discourage organized political meetings as a force for letting the public's voice be heard, and I worry that the time limit will do just that. But on the main point, the stated motivation for the 287G agreement is compliance with the rule of law, but as we've seen, compliance with the rule of law is incompatible with working alongside ICE. Just this month, an internal memo to ICE officers was leaked showing how they've been instructed to ignore the need for judicial warrants. Time and time again, we find that ICE is instructing its agents to work above the law, even above our own Fourth Amendment rights. History will not remember an agreement to work alongside ICE as compliance with the rule of law. It'll remember it as capitulation. Further, I ask whether it's in the interest of Tallahassee to have its officers associating with a group that is well known for ignoring civil liberties. Do we want to be helping a party well known for racial profiling, for quota-based arrests, for refusing legal representation to those it arrests, and even for flat-out ignoring judicial release orders? This can only degrade public trust in law enforcement, and deservedly so. 287G agreement has increased my fear for my students, for my colleagues, and for my friends. It's bad for public trust in law enforcement, and it's an active danger to our community. I'll avoid the rest of my time.
Next speaker is John Ray, but I believe I saw John Ray depart the chambers. Just making sure John Ray is not in the atrium. Not seeing Mr. Ray, then Stanley Sims is next, followed by Howard Kessler.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Stanley Sims, 1320 Avondale Way. First off, Mr. Mayor, I want to say, thank you for the clarity on the 30 minutes. And you are right. We need to treat each other fairly, but that's just not upon us. You guys need to do the same thing. I have witnessed, I've come to this dais, I've watched, particularly, and I hate to say this because tonight she was nice to me. I've watched Diane Williams roll her eyes, walk out when I get up here, say different things, even shot me a bird one time. So the lower, and here's the problem that shows that it ain't all just us or them. It's some on y'all because it doesn't happen anywhere but here. We need consistency. When those white people came, when that gas station was too close to that man's house, they came in here with red and white signs, a paper sign. Nobody bothered them. Nobody did anything. And when they came with signs, you called the cops. And then look at me. You have shut these meetings down because of disruption, but no one was punished. I can come up here and somebody say I got bad breath, and Reese is already writing a report to have me banned from the building. So we need consistency. Consistency, Mayor. Now, and I'm with you. I don't condone everything they do. Yeah, they are out of order. But sometimes you got to get out of order to get you all's attention. Like, again, our city manager meets with the market district. I tried for 4 years to meet with him. So why can't we treat everybody fairly? And see, you sitting there, but it's the truth. And Ms. Williams, please don't regress. Please, you name check me. I can't tell you how blessed I was when you treated me nice, because you have rolled your eyes at me. I remember, like you just did. See, that's why we act the way we do. Because she act childish, you can't fault these people for getting upset. We are paying her $100 to treat us with respect. I remember at the last budget meeting,
You have 30
Mayor,
seconds.
the lady came in the little trolley. Only person was on it was Diane. She asked Diane, she said, can I get, no, child, go on. So if you want civility from us, I'm asking, Mayor, tell your colleagues. You get Diane to do a lot of things. Get her to stop rolling her eyes at me.
The next speaker is Howard Kessler.
Name and address for the record, please.
Good night, Mr. Sims.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Howard Kessler, 32303. I came here tonight to speak on ICE, or to urge you to dissociate Tallahassee from ICE. But this issue with the speakers, I'm not clear. I missed the beginning of your meeting, although I've been here over 3 hours, I guess, longer. As I understand it, you're limiting the speakers to a total of 30 minutes, and you're asking them to tell you what the speaker is going to speak on, and then you're going to choose, or is it in sequential order? If you don't like the topic, you don't pick them, or does someone wait and not know they're going to not be able to speak? So I'm very confused about the issue. But the taxpayers and the voters are the people that put you in office, and you're owing to them. And instead of making it more difficult for citizens to speak, you should be making it more easy for citizens to speak. People have jobs. People have other lives. I certainly don't want to spend 4 hours here to be able to speak 3 minutes. There should be a set time at the beginning of your meeting. It's easy. Citizens don't want to speak on unagendaed items. Speak at the beginning of the meeting. And speak at the end of the meeting. And speak at the end of the public hearings. Make it easy to get input from your citizens. You should want that, not restrict it. And as far as ICE, they've proven themselves to be a culture of violence. We don't have to be obeying laws that are illegal. We deserve not to obey those laws. We should not associate with the rogue violence that ICE has put upon our country. It is disgraceful. And what did we expect all the time we were watching this on television, with people being treated less than human? We thought it was going to end well. Well, it's not ending well, and it continues to be terrible. And I yield the rest of my time.
The next speaker is Caden Rosa. Caden Rosa, followed by Delilah Pierre.
Name and address for the record, please.
My name's Caden Rosa. I live in Tallahassee. You know, I think you're kind of funny, you know, because you're asking us to work with you while you're standing here limiting our speech. That's the first thing you decided to do at this meeting. That's a joke. I mean, come on, let's be serious for a second. You know, we see absolutely everything y'all are focusing on. We see how y'all want to push through 287G. We saw what happened in December with the flock cameras and ICE, and then whatever was going on today, where we all gonna get more AI cameras to monitor, you know, people with traffic. Like, I don't know, that's suspect. I think most people know that's suspect. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. We know, John Daly, we know how worried you are about the businesses when the Women's Commission is asking you to put changing tables in bathrooms. You're like, oh, but what will the businesses do? Oh my God, did you ask their consent? And then, you know, they explained that they're talking to multiple business owners such as Matlow, and they made you look like a fool in that case scenario, you know. And then with point 1202, you know, you were willing to worship the ground that guy walked on for some big business interests, but you're running away from the people just trying to have some public comment. I mean, this is ridiculous. And then we saw with what happened after that you can move a little bit when you want to help some small businesses, but when it comes to, you know, the majority of people in Tallahassee, you're hiding, you're silent, you're scared, you're everything but helpful, you know. We're well aware of the repression of activists that this commission wants to use, and it's not going to work. You can try to tell us 30 minutes. We're we are going to win. I just don't think you understand. If you try to stop us here, we'll go outside and we'll tell you, like, we're going to make our voices heard, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. And, you know, I know that you're concerned about everything. I know you're worried about what's going to happen in the press. I know some of you are worried about what's going to happen with your upcoming elections, and you should be. You should be worried. You know, and I have the experience. I remember I came up here talking about all of y'all because you cut my time off less than halfway through my speaking just a few months ago because you guys want to repress us because you know it's for your interest. So we're telling you this is the interest of the community. It's not the interest of the business. It's not the interest of yourselves. It's not the interest of any like racist white supremacists that y'all are rocking with. You cannot stop us. You cannot restrict our time. What we're telling you is do not restrict our time. You need to extend our time so we can have our complete public comment, and you need to let us finish the meeting that way. You know, you need to allow our signs, which do no harm to your meetings, which you already had a cave on that point because you know that we have the power, you know. The police were ready to mobilize and do whatever, but you know that's not advantageous to you. You know you need to back down. And it's time for all the city commission to back down because the activists are the one who got the power in this town because we are actually representing what the people want. It's not the city commission or anybody else who's claiming that. You know, we understand our struggle completely, and we understand that we want ICE the hell out of Tallahassee, and we're going to make it happen. I don't understand how any of you think you can stop that because, like I told you, the people are coming. You know, worry about your time, not ours.
Next is Delilah Pierre. Delilah Pierre, followed by Tara Botter. Delilah Pierre, then Tara Botter.
Your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Delilah Pierre. My address is exempt. As you know, I am president of the Tallahassee Community Action Committee, and I just want to say I'm so tired of hearing about decorum. I'm really getting tired of that word that's just used as an excuse to repress activists, to repress organizers, to repress the community, because you get to be isolated, John Daly, Curtis Richardson, Diane Williams-Cox, from the problems that people are facing. But the people who are being murdered by ICE don't have any space for decorum in their lives. And the people who are existing in Tallahassee and watching graves being built over don't have time for decorum in their lives. And let's be real about something, about what you represent, about what you've exposed yourself to be. You three represent the interests of the Trump administration and the city of Tallahassee. That's exactly what you are. Banning public comment isn't a sign of strength, it's a sign of your internal weakness. It's a sign that you know people will continue showing up again and again and again to call you out. And it's not just us calling you out and organizing against you. It's this whole city, because you stand against the interests of the majority of the people in this city, and it's time you're exposed for it. And it's time everybody knows about it. You want decorum, you want respect, but you blatantly break laws and rules for yourself. You know why I disrupted at the previous city commission meeting? I disrupted because you tried to break the law by not allowing us to have 8.5 by 11 signs. And now all of a sudden, you've changed your mind. Was it really the Tallahassee Fire Department who was banning them? Or was that an excuse you made and used to silence and repress us? This is not about decorum. This is about repressing activists. This is about repressing organizers. This is about trying to repress the movement for justice. But the problem with that is that you cannot be successful in repressing our movement, because we will always rise up again and fight back. We always do and we always will. Whether it's the struggle for Palestinian liberation, whether it's the George Floyd uprising, whether it's right now with people struggling against ICE, we're fighting, we're standing, we're organizing, and it doesn't matter if you ban public comment or change it to 30 minutes or try to make more restrictions. People will keep on showing up and fighting back. And if you don't give people public channels for them to fight back through, they'll find other ways to organize against you. They'll find other ways to hold you accountable. That's how history works. That's how things move. That's how things change. That's inevitable, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Nothing that you can do about that. The conduct of our city commission's conservative leadership, and in general, the conduct of the city of Tallahassee, has never, ever been one where they've wanted to listen to people. And trust me, I know, because I've been to 50 or 60 of these commission meetings. I've been to many, many, many. Your intention has never been to listen to the people. Your intention has always been to repress them, to silence them, to make sure that they don't have an actual say, to try to deceive and manipulate them for your own personal interests. It will be unsuccessful. You will be unsuccessful. And the people will win, because our struggle is just, and the whole city of Tallahassee knows it.
Botter. Next speaker is Tara Botter, followed by Bernard Stevens.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name's Tara Botter. My zip code's 32313. You have already heard almost every argument in favor of revoking the 287G agreement and reversing the golf course sale. And at this point, everyone here trying to probe at your conscience must feel like they're talking to a brick wall. But here we go again, because I honestly don't know what else to do. You are helping to send people to concentration camps by having our police force hand over immigrants to ICE. The ACLU has documented reports of torture, sexual abuse, chronic food shortages, denial of life-saving medical care, people living in tents in the scorching heat, flooding, overcrowding, squalid and unsafe living conditions, filthy water, and denial of access to legal counsel in detention camps across the nation. You are creating a culture of fear by making interaction with law enforcement even more risky for immigrants and people of color. You say you're afraid of losing your seat and that you want to stay on the commission so that you can continue to work for Tallahasseans in other ways. But then what have you used your seats for? You used it to sell land housing the unmarked and unidentified remains of enslaved people to a country club with an incredibly racist past and still racist culture for pennies. And what was the result? Golfers continuing to pay humongous sums of money to golf directly on a route that is still located on top of the graves of as many as 100 enslaved people. You used your seat to repress activists and community members for exercising their First Amendment rights, to hold signs using a rule that isn't even in writing, cutting off around 60 people from speaking. Just recently, you doubled down on that repression too. Apparently, you thought it fit to try to cut off public comment at 30 minutes and attempt to handpick speakers that suit your narrative. And you do this all in the name of the people of Tallahassee, many of whom are not watching these hearings or are even aware of your decisions, and assume that because there is Democrat next to your name on the ballot, that you will fight for genuine progress instead of reactionary policies. Shame on you, and you cannot hide from public scrutiny no matter how much you try to. The people will just get louder. Thank you.
Our next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Bernard Stevens. Bernard Stevens Jr. Bernard Stevens Jr. followed by Justin Jordan.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Well, my name is Reverend Bernard Michael Stevens Jr. and my address is existing. My brothers and sisters, I'm not here to be racial. I don't have time for that. But what I am here to say, Mr. Mayor, is that I think what TCAC is trying to say is that they would like a meeting so you can relinquish our unagendaed speaker time, from 30 minutes on a little more. So hopefully you all will get together and talk about that. I don't believe that it is sufficient to just have 10 speakers in 30 minutes. Because sometimes I do get people try to filibuster. They do it in the Senate all the time. But I do also believe that the 287G agreement, it needs to be understood that if you all do not follow that, you will be removed from your seats. Is that not correct? That is correct. So quite naturally, the governor said, if anybody don't follow it, I will remove them. Nobody wants that. I don't want that for you. But what I do want you to do is have a conversation with these individuals so we can get back to business. That's all I'm asking. And all I want you all to do is just sit here and just take your time to say, is this really what we want our city to do? Do we have time to continue to go to the media and continue to say, this is what we're doing and blah, blah, blah? I understand all of that. I get that. But all I come here to do is try to handle business. Sister Cox, I think what you did with Mr. Sims, I think that was humble. I'm really grateful for that. That was really good. We got it, and we can roll our eyes all the time, but I think that was great. But I also want to make a recommendation that Orange Avenue from Capitol Circle to Capitol Circle should also be called C.K. Steele Avenue. Reverend C.K. Steele has done a lot for this city. He has pretty much pioneered a lot to the state capitol. So I believe since we're building a new transit center over there, it would do justice for that to kind of go all the way down for a black individual for black history. Sister Cox, I realized that was your pastor previously, so I'm not sure what I can do to help make that happen. But I really do believe that he needs a road just like Bishop Shepherd did. I don't understand why, quite naturally we sit here and we disagree with the residents, but we have to understand that we are elected. We're not appointed, we're elected. So being elected, we got the power to say yes and we got the power to say no, even if I don't agree. but it's not good to play a psychological game with residents just to say I have power. I appreciate Mr. Richardson for speaking with me after the first session, Mr. Matlow as well, but I do understand this, is that you all have a duty, and that duty is also to follow the legislative guidelines, but you all should be fighting across the street for the residents of Tallahassee so that we are able to come in here and express our grievances.
You have 30 seconds.
In decorum, as you would say. I do understand that, again, we have had some tension in here. I done had tension with you all as well. But I do believe that Jesus also talks about forgiveness. And sometimes you have to look within yourself to forgive yourself and not always sit there and say, I got the power. Because again, if we are our own utilities, we have to look at ways to give back to our people. And with that being said, that fire fee,
3 minutes.
It need to be removed off the utility bill, just the FYI.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
We have one more speaker on the
Okay.
agenda. Okay. Our last speaker.
Justin Jordan.
Your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Justin Jordan, address exempt. Let's talk about that word, decorum. It was the same exact word used against our people as we sat in at lunch counters, as we protested against a racist system, as we protested against racist laws. So I don't want to hear that decorum word used to cut off public speakers, used to cut off the people's comment. And I also want to say, when we're giving public comment, it's very disrespectful when I look up and I see someone scrolling on their phone. It's extremely disrespectful because the people are here to stand against the oppression of ICE. The people are here to stand against the murders that ICE has committed. It is disgusting and horrific. I've seen some of the footage of what happened to Alex Preddy. It broke my heart every second I watched it. We care about these things not because we're inherently against you. We care about these things because we care about people, because we want a society where people are treated equally. Because we want a society where someone isn't pulled over because of their color of their skin or how they speak or their accent. ICE has been allowed to racially profile people, and our city is in an agreement with an agency that is openly profiling people based on their characteristics. It is disgusting and it is shameful, and I'm so disappointed in each and every one of you who has decided to vote against the people's will, because the people do not support the 287G agreement. And that's why we're going to keep coming back, regardless of how short our comment is, regardless of whether it's only 10 speakers. We're going to be here in these seats every single time to let y'all know, to let y'all ponder over the fact that y'all voted to support a genocidal agency that is actively attacking our country, that is actively killing our neighbors. ICE came to the city this summer. This is not something that is abstract. This is not something that is far away. People are being taken away. People feel afraid to go to school. People feel afraid to walk down the street. We should be a city that cares about its residents. We should be a city that's expanding opportunities for public comment. So if we're limiting public comment, when's y'all next town hall? When's the next time I'm gonna be able to email? Because every time I email somebody about something, I don't get no response. I've seen people come up here to speak about issues that they care about, to speak about things that they hold dear to them. This is not us trying to interrupt your lives. We're trying to make sure that you understand that we are passionate about these issues, that we are passionate about what happened at the sale of the country club. We were recently there for a protest. As we chanted and as we spoke about the fact that people's graves are there, I watched as golfers looked me in the eye and swung a golf ball at a crowd of people. Shame. And y'all sold that land to them. I hope every night you remember that. Every night you remember that. And I don't want to call out anyone or do any personal attacks, but you two, the first time I came to a city commission meeting, I really expected different from you, and I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed. Thank you. Say no to the 287G agreement, stop your agreement with ICE, and reverse the sale of the Capital City Country Club. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, colleagues, we are on the sharing of ideas. Mayor Pro Tem, we'll start with you and work our way down.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one thing. At our last AHAC meeting on February 2nd, we discussed the Yes in My God's Backyard legislation that passed in 2025 on how to implement this particular bill locally. The legislation allows local governments to approve housing on certain parcels owned by religious institutions, as long as 10% of the homes are affordable per statute 420.004. Local governments may approve what we call YIGBI on a case-by-case basis or have an implementing policy or ordinance. Housing and Community Resilience currently implements YIGBI on a case-by-case basis, utilizing our affordable housing certification process. This incentive allows us to increase our current inventory of 3,000 plus affordable housing units and counting. I have confidence that we'll achieve our current strategic plan housing goals. As your representative on the AHAC, I want to ensure you and our citizens that I'll continue to support this type of legislation and any other incentives that gives us more flexibility to increase our affordable housing footprint in this community. And so what we're asking, Mr. Mayor, is that we continue to, rather than implementing a policy at this point, that we implement this YIGBI legislation on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Wonderful. Commissioner Williams-Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is Mr. Stevens still here? Mr. Stevens, Reverend Stevens, we do have a street name for Reverend C.K. Steele, and it runs from Capitol Circle, Orange Avenue, to into across Capitol Circle. It's in 3 sections. It's an honorary designation, and it is named for Reverend C.K. Steele. So you should see the honorary signs. It's the state, the county, and the city have done that. So it's already done. The other thing, he was not my pastor. I was not a member of Bethel when he was a pastor there. So I wanted to make that correction. I wanted to invite the community to an event that's taking place on Friday, the unveiling of, for Black History Month in the Bond community, a community-driven project that culminates with the unveiling of a series of historic markers in the Greater Bond neighborhood. It's going to be a celebration and a walking tour that will take place on Friday, February 20th at 10 a.m. at the Speed Spencer Stephen Park, which is located at 1907 Saxon Street. This is a project that was led by the community, led by Sergeant Major Jarvis Rozier, and I'm looking forward to, I know the Mayor Pro Tem, I understand is going to be there, and I plan to be there as well. Also, this week is African American Read-In. I will be reading in the morning, early in the morning, at Riley Elementary with some youngsters, and then also at Astoria Park at 10. And I was not aware that the Honorable Maggie Lewis Butler was going to be in chambers today, but I'm glad that she was, because a request to provide an honorary designation for Jim Lee Road for her has come to my attention. You know, we talked about, well, another one is coming, but when I talked to the staff about this one, the Urban League is going to bring forward a request for a different street renaming, but I wanted to go ahead and bring this one to see if I could get the commission's support. Mrs. Maggie Lewis Butler, as you said tonight, and you know, you've served, you know as well, has done a tremendous amount of work representing the school district. She was a big supporter of the schools in District 3, which is where she represented on the south side. And Jim Lee Road runs from Magnolia down into, I think all the way out, maybe not all the way to Tram, but almost to Tram Road. Yeah. And so I'm asking your support to have an honorary designation for Mrs. Maggie Lewis Butler for the years of service that she has provided to this community, and especially on the south side of town.
Is that a motion to bring it?
That is a motion to bring it, yes.
I would second that, Mr. Mayor, wholeheartedly.
All those in favor of the motion on the table signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you. That's it.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
On point, sure.
On point, thank you. From my understanding, I haven't confirmed it. I guess I need to, city manager, check with you or Allison. On March 2nd, we will have the dedication of the street naming for former clerk of court, Dave Lang. And so I invite anyone who wants to come and be a part of that. It will stretch from Monroe to Calhoun Street on the north side of the courthouse. So you're invited to come and be a part of that road designation.
And on point with that, can we also make sure that, because I had a conversation with Clerk Marshall, who serves in the role that he served in, could we also make sure that her office is invited?
Oh, yeah.
Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Clerk, how many public speakers did we not get to tonight?
7.
7? Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we waive policy to hear from the remaining 7 speakers.
Second.
Yeah, we can hear from the remaining 7. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and finish up. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Great, passes 5-0. We're going to finish up commission time, so Commissioner
Sure.
Matlow, you go right ahead. Commissioner Porter can speak, and then we'll hear from the remaining 7. This actually went very well tonight.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I do want to address, and I appreciate your comments on the paper signs. I don't think that is a city commission policy. I understand it's some sort of orders that weren't even available under Public Records Acts. So I think if there is any policy, it needs to be posted. We really need to work on de-escalation. What I saw at the last meeting escalated a situation in a way that it didn't need to be. There were paper signs that weren't obstructing the view of anybody. Based on trying to remove them, it blew into the protest that we saw. I think, respect does go both ways, and I agree. We need to try to do the best job we can in city commission chambers while respecting the public's right to speak. If there is no sign policy, I think that's fine by me. Let's just not enforce one. If there's a conversation about it, we can have that conversation. The last meeting, we also had issues with capacity. Folks were upset they weren't able to access chambers. In the overflow Tallahassee room, the screen wasn't available at that meeting. I would like to see that remain available anytime we're at capacity for overflow capacity. And then even if there's speakers waiting to speak and we're at overflow capacity, when available to have staff who are taking up seats, let the public come in if they're not needed for the item that's being discussed. I want to take a moment to recognize the passing of city employee Christoph Cage, who worked for the city of Tallahassee, was very involved in the local theater community. He has a service coming up March 7th, a celebration at the Turner Auditorium. And then my final item is, Mr. Manager, I know there's a attempt by Phantom Fireworks to come to the former Walgreens site on North Monroe. Would you be able to give an update on where that is in the process?
Mr. Mayor?
Sure, Mr. Manager.
Yeah, certainly, Commissioner. Phantom Fireworks or companies that it's affiliated with have acquired the building, the property at John Knox in Monroe. I can't remember if it was a Walgreens or CVS.
Walgreens.
But so they own that property. They have sought a building permit to put in a Phantom Fireworks operation. That involves a number of things because of the fireworks operations. The city attorney's office has been engaged as it relates to the application of state law. Growth management's been engaged as it relates to permitting and zoning. And the fire department has been engaged for obvious reasons because of the nature of the operation. As I understand the situation today, the state law does not allow for the retail operation of a fireworks store like that. There's some kind of carve-outs that possibly allows it to be designated as wholesale. We have met with them. I met with them, the city attorney. We met, everybody involved met with them to hear the details of it. And they indicated that they would designate themselves as wholesale and have sought a permit as a wholesale operator. And so I think you have a couple controlling items here. It is unclear whether or not they could satisfy state law, and that certainly, in my opinion, would be up to the city attorney to opine. But if they could satisfy that as a wholesale operation, they would then need to be able to operate within our zoning criteria in the city. As a wholesale operation, they would not fit within the zoning category that exists. That's a commercial parkway there. Retail could, but you see the dilemma. They can't be retail, and so they filed for the permit as wholesale. So we advise them, you'd either have to get the zoning changed and then get some kind of confirmation that wholesale could satisfy state law, those are kind of two issues that are outstanding. In discussion, I'm not sure of, what next steps they may or may not take, but that's kind of where that conversation has been.
Okay, thank you. And that was my understanding of it. I just wanted to make sure we were clear. It can't operate as a resale. It's currently not zoned. It would take some sort of official city action to be rezoned to be a wholesale.
Well, and it sounds like it'll take state action as well to help clarify some of the major hurdles. So
Yeah, it seems like.
they've got a long road ahead of them before they get back to us.
Understood. I appreciate the update. I appreciate staff's work on that item. I know there's a bunch of different, call them loopholes that people use to operate these facilities, but I appreciate the due diligence and making sure we're following state law in regards to retail fireworks. That's the last item I have tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I wanted to make a motion that an item come back to us at our next meeting to discuss the unagended speakers issue. We can go through the history of unagended speakers at the city and give the public an opportunity to weigh in on this issue. I think that would be appropriate. So my motion is that an item come back to us at our next meeting to discuss unagended speakers. I understand we took the vote today, but there wasn't an opportunity for the public to speak on it. We spoke a lot tonight about how the action did not take away from the public's ability to address us when there is an agenda item, and so I think it's appropriate that it be an agenda item that come back to us.
There is a motion on the table made by Commissioner Porter to bring back an agenda item in regards to the action that we took in regards to unagended speakers, seconded by Commissioner Matlow. Respectfully, I'm not going to support the motion on the table. All those in favor of the motion?
I have a question.
Williams-Cox.
I'm trying to understand what is it that we're going to bring back, because I thought you read to us the policy. We could all review the policy and see, because it is a policy.
We changed the policy tonight. Commissioner Porter wants to bring it back for discussion.
Okay.
May I?
Commissioner Porter on point.
For the sake of compromise, it can just be an informational item, but I do want the public to have an opportunity to weigh in on that action that we took. So the item doesn't have to be that we revisit what we've already voted on, but as we talked about, when we're doing official business, it's an agended item, and so I think we took this action tonight without it being an item for the public to come to address, and I think that would be appropriate. So to be clear, it need not be we don't need to revisit that at the meeting. It could be an informational item, but with the opportunity for public speakers.
Okay. I'm comfortable with what we heard tonight on an agenda as well. So all those in favor of the motion on the table signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Motion fails 3-2 with the mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioner Williams-Cox in dissent. On point.
On point.
And coming back to Commissioner Porter.
I will say this, I am happy to meet with anyone that want to discuss the unagenda item issue. I'm happy to do that. And I'll meet with anyone who wants to talk about it.
Excellent. Commissioner Porter, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to address, though it has been addressed several times, my opposition to the 287G agreement. Families belong together. What ICE is doing is not about safety. It's not about following the law. It's a rogue, dangerous agency with a license to kill. I voted to revoke the agreement. I would do it again. That's all I have to say about that. And then my final item, at the December 10th meeting, I said that Jeffrey Shanks had been found guilty of trafficking in stolen Native American human remains, and I have since learned that is not true. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Okay. So the commission would like to hear from the last 7 speakers. So let's go ahead and hear from the last 7.
Okay, very good. The first of those 7 is Mariana Ramirez, and then Katrina Dixon.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Mariana Guimares. I live in the zip code 32304. This is my first time speaking at a commission meeting. I've lived in Tallahassee about 3 years now. I'm a social worker. I'm working on my master's right now. And I think this is a great issue for me to focus on, but I'm going to speak about 287G as many other city members have. It is clear that ICE is a terrorist organization. There's plenty of footage. There's plenty of evidence. We've seen them murder Keith Porter. We've seen them murder Alex Preddy, and we've seen them murder Renee Nicole Good, and many more deaths have occurred. They're withholding medical care. They are tearing families apart, and it's disgusting. And the three of you have voted to keep this agreement despite massive public outreach. That is insane. We pay your bills.
No.
We pay your bills.
No.
We work for you to sit here and not listen to us. You really, truly should be ashamed of yourselves. Truly. And we're not gonna stop telling you that we don't want this, and we're gonna win. Thank you.
Our next speaker, please.
Next is Katrina Dixon. And then next will be Joel Nunez.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Katrina Dixon. I live out in Buck Lake. I'm standing in front of you here as a concerned and frankly angry citizen and member of the community, demanding, as so many people already have, for you to repeal the 287G agreement. It is no secret what ICE has been doing around the country. This is an organization bent on terrorizing our communities that have been committing blatant acts of violence, such as kidnapping and outright murder. Is this what we want for our community? The answer to this is a clear and resounding no. This community has stood up time and time again to let you know that we do not want these people, and I truly mean that in the loosest sense of the word, in our community. And time again, you have ignored us, the very people you're supposed to be working on behalf of. You're here to serve all of us in this community, including our immigrants. Our neighbors should not have to worry that they will be subjected to the disgusting violence that ICE is so infamous for. You stated that you're afraid you will lose your jobs. These people could lose their lives. Yet so many of them have been out fighting for their rights, while you, who can enact real change, sit here on your phones doing nothing. And by doing nothing, you might as well be dragging them out of their houses yourself. So I'm asking once again, in hopes that you will finally listen to your constituents, have some integrity. Grow a goddamn backbone and do the job that we pay you to do.
We're not gonna have the foul language, okay? Let's maintain a certain level of decorum.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Do your job. Repeal the 287G agreement.
The next speaker is Joel Nunez. And then Samuel Eisen.
Your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Joel Nunez, zip code 32303. Let us be very clear with what we're seeing here. You guys made the extremely unpopular choice to keep this 287G agreement, and understandably, people are upset. We've seen an increase, an outpouring of civic participation in local government. In a city this small, you know, to see this level of participation, you guys should be excited if you cared about democracy. But instead, we've seen you push even more unpopular measures to try to take signs away, you know, and let's be real clear about what happened with the signs, okay? Because y'all want to act up here, be like, oh, okay, well, you guys aren't holding them up. That doesn't say anything offensive on it. It's all right. There is no difference between these signs and the ones last time. And in fact, they try to take away the signs already. This individual right here tried to bring in the signs. They took it away at the door, a piece of paper. How is a piece of paper a security threat? Make that make sense. And when we pulled them out right now, look at it. Look at all the folded signs. We had to put them in our pocket just to bring them out here. And still, your officers try to take them away, and you guys had to be like, stand down, because you know it makes you look bad. It makes you look bad. Your response to people being upset that you're doing things that people don't want is to keep pushing more unpopular measures to limit free speech. How does that make sense? The only reason y'all even let us have the signs out today is because you know you would look like dictators. You know you look like power-hungry dictators if you're going to tell us we can only have 10 speakers and can't even have signs. You know, we're trying to open the gates for people to participate, to let you know how they feel, and you're here shutting them.
shutting them, physically shutting them at the last meeting. And so, and let's be, restricting the public comment is clearly because you don't want to hear about 287G. Okay, because there's nothing stopping us from speaking on an agenda item. Like, come on, guys. You're still giving the full 3 minutes, all the speakers to these agenda items, to the public hearings, and yet you never had a public hearing over 287G. Okay, it's because people are upset and people are speaking out about 287G that now you're saying there can only be 10 speakers, and that's how it's going to be for the rest of the city commission history. Okay, it's ridiculous what y'all are doing. It's a violation of the First Amendment, and it is absolutely counterproductive to any type of democracy.
You're at 30 seconds.
You claim to be doing here. Okay, but just know that all that's gonna come back to y'all. All right, we want a town hall, a public hearing, a serious opportunity for you guys to talk about 287G. We want more than 30 minutes to speak. And we want y'all to just listen to us, okay? That is all.
Next speaker, please.
Samuel Eisen. Samuel Eisen. The following speaker will be Ryan Sweat.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Hey, y'all. I'm Shmuel Eisen. I'm in the zip code 32304. I'm really just here as a concerned citizen. I work at a local crisis center. It's a mental health crisis center. I've received multiple calls from people who are calling on behalf of immigrants, on behalf of Latin American people in general, who are scared to call themselves, to leave a record, because we do forms, because of ICE, because of the 287G agreement. Some of them know the name, some of them don't. Either way, they're scared of the same thing. I mean, I don't know, I'm not really much of a speaker. I don't know what to do. I feel completely powerless. I want this to change. I don't like what's going on here. I haven't met anyone who likes what's going on here. I don't believe you guys like what's going on here. I think that you're human beings like me. And I am sure that there's some other reason why y'all have passed this agreement. I don't think it's because you're personally in favor of it. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I'm asking you to please take a stand for the right thing. If there were ever a time in history to stand up to whatever reason, whatever motivation is pushing you to accept this agreement, you should do it. Like, this is worth risking your job over. This is worth standing up to someone scary over. Please do the right thing. Like, seriously, we're all gonna die, okay? We're on this earth for a limited amount of time. When you're on your deathbed, what do you want to be thinking about? Is this what you want to do? Thanks.
Ryan Sweat. Ryan Sweat is next, followed by Brandon Beckett.
Your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Ryan Sweat. I live in zip code 32304. Yeah, you guys have heard it all. Obviously, like, you've heard appeals to empathy for the people who are being ripped away from their families, the people killed. And, you know, you've heard from us that a lot of us, like, I'm taking time off working to be here. I'm sure I'm not the only one. All these people are here today to make our voices heard, that we are against 287G. And I haven't heard a single citizen come up and say that they are in favor of it. This is the position of the people of Tallahassee, and as the representatives of the people of Tallahassee, like, to not try to reflect our position is, like, very disgusting. Like, what are you here for, is my opinion. We just want ICE out, like, that's it. I don't really have very much to say, but shame on you guys.
Brandon Beckett.
Who's our last? Who's the last speaker?
Got 3 more. I had 2 added. Well, I think I've got 3 more.
Okay, 3 more. Your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Brandon Beckett. My zip code is 32304, and I'm the secretary of the Tallahassee Immigrant Rights Alliance. And And I just want to start with, the timeline of this 287G agreement. We've been coming in here since, I think, July. And I think, in July, my first city commission meeting I came to in August. So the 287G agreement was supposed to be on the agenda. And we came to that meeting because we thought it was going to be on the agenda, and that agreement was not on the agenda. So you started repressing us just from the very start. And then after that, you finally agreed to put it on the agenda, and then you pushed it off, and then you guys said you were scared of losing your jobs or whatever. But you guys are choosing to represent the people, and it seems like, if I was a real estate developer or, a banker or something other in the community, then maybe you guys would listen to me. But, I'm just a person, and it's disgusting, honestly. And you guys have continuously repressed us, and we've come back here again and again, and I haven't heard a single person say anything good about 287G. So do you represent the people? Like honestly, I want to know, because it seems like, just a statistical probability of everybody coming in here saying no to 287G, and you guys still just not listening to us. It's just so disgusting. And, there's people, and you guys see this as just like an agreement or just some words on a piece of paper, but these are people's lives. And there's so many people in immigrant communities that are scared. I've been in some of these communities, and people have gotten kidnapped within the past couple of weeks, and no one knows about that. The news doesn't even know about that. It's disgusting. And even me, I'm a natural-born U.S. citizen, a Latino American, and whenever I see a cop behind me, I could be following every single law. But then there's that 1% thought in the back of my mind that my entire life could be over because I could be profiled based off these terrible laws. And it's scary, and I could imagine how other families are just way more scared because they're targeting these communities specifically. And I really just want city commissioners that stand for the people, and I want you guys to say that you stand for the people and represent the people and back out of this 287G agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Alejandro Carretera. Alejandro Carretera. And then Max Hurley.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Alejandro Carralero. I live at 800 Basin Street. I am a student at the Florida State University College of Law, and I am also an immigrant. I was born in the city of Guayaquil in Ecuador to two Cuban parents. I'm here, as you probably expect, to ask the Commission to revoke the 287G agreement. There's no legal requirement to comply with the agreement, only threats with no legal backing from the Attorney General. In fact, your continued complicity is only a cost to this city and its people. But the many other speakers today and at many commissions before have told you all this again and again. At this point, I can only assume that you already know this. And it's clear that your complicity is a choice that you're making and have continued to make every single time. So today I'm going to talk to you about history. Between 1976 and 1983, over 30,000 people were forcibly disappeared in Argentina during a military dictatorship supported by the United States. Images of masked men entering homes and kidnapping people for them to never be seen again became a common occurrence. While it would be easy to talk about how similar their actions were to ICE, what I want to talk about is the culture of silence and complicity that allowed this to occur. Newspaper articles were published about how the subversives were being dealt with, and those who lived near the clandestine detention centers could hear the horrors that were occurring, the torture, the murders, and they did nothing. Once civilian government returned, many in the media and the government told themselves a lie that nobody knew, and that if they had known, they would have fought back. It took years before the public and the government was finally able to admit the bitter truth, that everyone knew, and that the fear and complicity of those who thought it wasn't their problem had allowed for those atrocities to occur, and that a return to normalcy was not possible without reckoning what had occurred. I tell you this story because in times like this, fear and indifference has a high price. one that in the near future will be paid by the people of this community. But eventually, when the time comes to write the history books about our current time, and historians ask, why was this allowed to happen, will be paid by people like those in this commission, whose either fear of reprisal or indifference to the pain and suffering their actions
You have 30 seconds
cause
remaining.
will be cited as one of the many causes of these atrocities. They will be remembered in the best case as those who had the power to do something and refuse, more likely as collaborators. ICE continues to expand its violence, building databases of people they label as domestic terrorists, buying warehouses across the country, especially in Florida, and there's disappearances, hundreds of them across the country. None of this is hidden, and in fact, the
You're at 3
administration
minutes.
have been quite shameless in their lies. The truth is clear that when history is
Thank you
written,
very much.
and everyone.
Your time is up.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next speaker is Max Hurley.
Last speaker? Oh, is our last speaker?
Max Hurley and then Judy Mandrell, and that's our last speaker. I don't see Max Hurley, so Judy Mandrell.
Our last speaker, Judy Mandrell. Your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Judy Mandrell, 1911 Chalkeban Court, Tallahassee, Florida. Good evening to each one of you, all of the city commissioners. And I think I'm in pretty good standards with all of you all. When I saw in the papers yesterday about the limiting of the speakers for 30 minutes, it bothered me. It really did. I was like, wow, why would they do that? And as I thought about it, I understand why you've done that. I've been coming to City Hall to these meetings since Andrew Gillum sitting here, and I come because I love this city. I love this city. I really do. I love this city. And I love the people in this city. I don't always agree, but I do. And when I saw that it was limited, and my time, I'm gonna give you back some time. I'm just talking like this. And I thought about it. Some of y'all not old enough maybe to remember this, but we used to write checks. But they stopped us from writing checks, not because everybody messed up, but a few people wrote checks that bounced and never repaid them. And so the law came, most organizations stopped accepting checks. I was one of those who just got grafted in. I haven't never written a bad check. Check never bounced. However, because of a few, that became a disadvantage to those of us who wrote good checks. I honestly believe, as I read it, I contemplated it all day. I don't think Mayor Daley and this commission is trying to stop us from speaking for 3 minutes. Like you all did tonight, this was pretty cool. Yeah. But there has been time, and I'm 67, so I take things a little differently. And I think that order is necessary. I think we can say whatever we want, and they have allowed that to happen.
You're at 30 seconds.
But I believe that's an order, and that's what I want to say. I disagree with the 30 minutes until I start thinking about why you did it. And so I hope that we can come to some kind of agreement. And Mayor, every time before the meetings, you give it to us. Order. All of us want respect. You all want respect. They want respect. Those of us who come in here, we want to hear respect. I listened to you all tonight.
You're at
Good
3
points.
minutes.
Good points. But there's a way we do it to get everybody to listen.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you. That was a good one to end on. I want to thank everybody for coming out. Everybody had the opportunity to speak. Thanks for working with me. Have a great night. We stand adjourned.